30秒到达战场，碾碎他。全军出击！
一次不中，再扔一次。
在此。没有什么能阻止我了。
我使劲一块一块的解决问题。
释放！这样而已嘛。好嘛，如果你想活命的话。
好哎！
标记一下。这就对了。我让吧，停步！站在斧头后面。快，解除解药！
一次不中，再赢一次。
就这样而已嘛。 别这么快！
And guess who's back? Hello everyone. I'm done journeying Lerman today. Learning German. And that means I can be back and casting Fuel. Of course, always a bit of a pain when I have to go do that instead of casting this, but it's important and I have to use it for my visa. How's everyone doing? Let's get into this. WE giving a really good showing of it to JDG. I think Cubes had a very good game on the Scion largely, managing to find Pays out in the backline. A lot of times, Karis, some good movement. I think Taeyeon's Ezreal, once again, proving to be a very destructive force. I think that, of course, now with even dragons, Baron over towards WE. Slight gold lead for WE as well. We are truly into the later game. Pays, if he's playing without Flash, really struggles. Q's managed to find his way onto the backline multiple times. I think his Scion engages have been very critical. I know he's behind in gold. I know he's the 1 gold deficit for WE, but I do think that he's been critical to WE's success so far. You're enjoying the silent cast? Well, I'm sorry to join you then. Dragon, started by WE, using the fact that they have that Baron to push in. Well, I'm not really able to split push. I mean, Shen can be a good split pusher at points, because he actually a lot of percent HP damage. Dodging out on Cubes, play nicely there. Both of them have unending despair, and Global start coming through. Big Global comp, and Taeyeon goes down. Oh, that's huge. JDG now using Karis to try and get some damage back. Can they get a cancel on the Royal Warp? No, they can't. Flip back misses. Shun, being the taxi, the submarine for Karis. Spirit's Refuge comes in. Karis, no flash anymore. Might have gone too far trying to save his teammates here. And they can't do anything. JDG find a round of globals. And they might have just found themselves the fight which breaks the game. This game has so many long-range engage tools. Scion ultimate across the map. Pantheon. Realm Warp. But the Ezreal to follow up from long range with his global ultimate too. JDG on the other side. The Talia, the Shen. Everyone going from point A to point B very, very quickly. So the Baron has actually ended up being negative for WE. Worth noting as well as we come out of this, Karis has no summoners now, Taeyeon no summoners, whereas Pays and Scout do. Important things to track. WE do have Soul Point. I think Cloud Soul is very important in this kind of game, actually trying to outspace the likes of Braum and Shem. What happened here then? Taeyeon easy. Ah, no. Oh, Taeyeon, why? He was doing so well up until this point. Well, he's been doing... I also think Shun, he uses his knock-up on the wrong target. He hits the... if he uses the auto-attack onto the Rise there, they just kill both cleanly. Don't have to use the extra summoners. But hey, whatever. Oh, man. Taeyeon doing so well on his Ezreal for so much of this split, but that's not what you want to see from the man in the bot lane. So... Dragon in 3 minutes. Karis caught out on a side lane. Doesn't have flash. He's going to get taken down as well. JDG have really just ripped open the map in the last minute or so. That big fight. It's a shame because I do really think WE have had a very good early into mid game. They are one of our, you know, they're one of our best early game teams. I think that Monkey's been critical for them. I think that Karis on Rise has looked a lot more comfortable than other stuff. A lot of people say that the solo lanes of WE are the reason they're being held back. I don't think that's always true. I think you can definitely see some moments where Monkey and Vampire are the ones inting instead. And this is the kind of game where, yeah, the jungle support from WE, they're struggling a bit compared to Shun and Missing. Hard to play Leona into Shen because you can block your Shield of Daybreak. Hard to assassinate a target when they get a Shen ult on top of them too. Whereas actually it's been Karis and Cube who've largely been doing the legwork for WE. Alex comes back, WE start losing. It is some pretty hefty legwork, isn't it? Shen's so strong right now. Yeah, Shen got another buff. He's had like 5 buffs in a row. He's on 4 items. This is a 4-item Shen with a 255 stack Heartsteel, who he can actually stack on the Scion for forever. No, Shen is very good at anti-tank. You know, he does bring an extra global to the field as well, which... The more I think about the current meta, the more powerful globals are, and being able to quickly respond to things. Shen ult is one of the best globals in the history of League. It's been relevant for 12 years of our esport, 2013 and the like. Remember when Shen had that buff where he would fail to teleport and he got disabled in pro play for forever? That was a long time. Well, season 12 rather, I guess. Season 2 rather, not rather than season 3. Does need to cancel the Rise. The Rise actually does threaten him because he can block out with that dodge field. A lot of damage from the Ezreal, but not from that Rise. Cube looking for an engage again. Pays standing behind that wall. Wall comes off to cut off Cube and Vampire. Vampire goes in, but there's no support. Here comes the Pantheon. Maybe they'll change things. Pace has both summoners, uses the cleanse, doesn't have that flash now either. The Cube goes over, and Karis comes in to kill the Varus. Double kills coming through. Shun doesn't have his ultimate anymore. Karis is just free firing. Oh, that Realm Orb is so superb. And the disengage has to come through from JDG, despite the fact that Pace had double summoners. WE are the ones that find the engage. JDG find themselves 3 critical kills rather. Shun is alive, but Karis and Taeyon were untouched for the grand majority of that fight, and they'll buy themselves a Baron with it. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, should be sold right after. Shun might have to go for a steal. Half HP on Monkey. Scout trying to get some damage, get something onto Taeyon. Half HP on Monkey as well. Shun has his ult coming up right now. Can he go for a steal? It's going close to it with the Rune Prison. Goes over the wall, and Shun will die. Instead, that'll be a free Dragon afterwards. WE, Baron, Soul for themselves, finding a critical engage to find out Pays in the middle of the team fight. How the heck did they get onto him so comprehensively? I think Monkey and Karis double ultimates into the backline, really solving that fight. I thought the initial engage was a little skew-if. You know, Vampire not cleanly finding his target. He was interrupted out of his Zenith Blade. Thankfully, Karis and Monkey could spare the blushes of that engage. Dragon is now available. Allah does have teleport. I think you just have to give this. You don't have the smite. Bad mistakes from JDG. Walking too far up. Not enough peel for the Varus, who, you know, is very tanky with the Jack Show 4th item on top of the Terminus, but it's not tanky enough to deal with 3 people kind of changing the direction of a team fight very quickly. And now he doesn't have flash or cleanse for the next fight. WE going to explode into the lead now. Fight in the mid lane. Ollie needs to be very careful. Flashes away from the Scion ultimate, so no taunt flash available now. Cube, as we were saying, really good game from him on the Scion on the whole. And Ollie, yeah, he's tanky with the Heartsteel, but he's not going to be the same disruptive force that a Scion could be with that AoE Q. So now JDG are left to problem solve again. Behind in the game, GA on Shun, that helps. Seekers on Scout, that helps too. Don't really think that Scout is killing people quickly enough. It's harder for him to find targets too. Less point and click than a Rise, of course. Fighting the top side as Monkey doing quite well against the Shen, actually. Ola trying to... Oh, hang on a second. Might have gone too far. But no, maybe... That's a bad solar flap. Uses the Ignite too. Vampire not been accurate with those this game. Wall comes in from Scout. Secures a red buff. Stops the wave going cleanly towards top side as well. Karis does have flash. Doesn't want to have to use it. Q missing onto Karis because the flash was used. Sion does have his ult back again. He can start out a fight. Pays. No flash still. Would really like to wait until that summoner is back up to fight with JDG. Game near enough easy. 2,000 gold at this point in the game doesn't mean that much. Almost full build from Ezreal. Very mobile. I really think that WE going into the late game has such a comp advantage. Now, Sion can just charge into the front line, buy a lot of time. While that's happening, Pantheon goes into a flank. The Realm Walk comes in. Taeyun can hop around the flank as well. As long as WE don't give up a stupid kill at the start of the fight where, you know, Scout and Arla kind of pounce on a target with their globals, I think WE have a very clear path to victory. Zhonya's fully built for Karis. They have the feats of strength as well. 3 chain-laced crushers for the top side of the map. 1 for support as well. I think Varus on hit is better late than Ezreal. Yeah, I would normally agree, but Ezreal's more mobile, and Varus doesn't have that mobility to escape. Sion in the front line, double ultimates on the flanks, or cutting off the escape. JDG have a hard barrier of execution to play around. Now, it's really hard to keep Pays alive if there's a Pantheon just ulting after he flashes. Really hard. Ezreal has an extra bonus 750 HP. Well, yeah, I mean, Shojin and Triforce both give him a ton of HP for sure. At this point in the game, I think it saves you. In mid-game, it helps you more, the actual HP. He is tanky, though, comparative to many other ADCs, which is normally the case for the Ezreal. Always has been a Triforce builder, of course. Largely, occasionally an Essence Reaver or whatever. What have you. Sam will come join us for the last bit of this game as well. As we figure out...
it's a tight game.
It is. And there's a lot of globals in the game. I think they've out-comped. But that being said, it is still a close game. I think JDG... I think Shun has had a very good game on one part. Arla on the Shen definitely had something into it. Vampire being a living ward here. Needs to be a bit careful. If he's taking a fight away before the Sion... In a second, blue trinket used. But if he's taking a fight before the Sion can teleport into a fight, that could be absolutely devastating. Lots of heartsteel stacks on the Shen, if you hadn't noticed, by the way. 381, because he's been hitting the Sion all laning phase long. And stacks off of your HP as well, of course.
Say if he gets a shadow dash into an auto Q with that Titanic Hydra, that's what I was going to call it, a Trinity Force, that's the wrong T item, but that active on that Titanic Hydra with that Heartsteel proc is going to hurt if you ever catches someone like Taeyun.
Well, the problem is he has cleanse, flash, and full build.
So yes, I agree.
So while yes, I think it takes a while for the Heartsteel proc to charge up. Of course, it takes about 2 seconds, I think it is, to charge up. Yes, you can do some good damage to it. It's hard to stick to the Ezreal and fully kill him. Whereas if you actually catch the Varus, Pantheon onto one side, Ryze onto the other, engage down the front from the Leona and the Sion.
Yeah.
Well, after you flash, it doesn't. There's a global to follow you, and that's what we've seen multiple times as I've been looking on in the background in this game. So Pays, hard ass for him, has actually gone for the Runans last for AoE damage to try and hit both Vampire and Cube and Monkey at the same time if they all go into backline. It's a build which you used to see a lot more of. Typically, it also does apply, you know, stuff like your lifesteal multiple times, of course, too, because you're a hit getting multiple targets to hit onto. Kind of surprised he didn't go towards a Bloodthirster for even more survivability, you know, even though there is a Thornmail on the Sion. I feel like the extra lifesteal could be absolutely critical. Elder spawning in 30 seconds. W has Cloud Soul. JDG have every summoner, though, which is important to them. WE, they need to find a way to, once again, force Pays into a difficult scenario. If he's the one that has to kind of flash out early, I think WE just win the fights. Pays, his positioning is absolutely critical. It's all on the Varus, and whether he lives or dies early.
Nice on it. Of course, Stand United up and available. Been a little while since we've seen Shen properly hit the meta, and Arlo looking to make this Looking to a flank, but there comes the Scion ult. Gets body
It's not
blocked.
good.
It's not the fantastic out. Monkey into the backline, though. Gets on top of Paige, who flashes away, beginning to auto. Still staying alive, doing his very best to keep going. Hit by the decimating smash. Finally falls. But how long has it taken? All the while, though, Kara's still alive for a moment or two longer. It's not enough. Taeyun running away, has to flash. That leaves Cube out in the middle of a 1v3, though. And Scout and Ale and should be able to bring this down eventually. Taeyun tries to step back in, though. Has got his Arcane Shift back up and available, trying to space this one well. Ale, though, is so hard to kill, trying to target a little bit more damage onto Shun, who did have his Sterex proc, but stays alive. They can't keep going on to Cube. A little bit too much threat. You win the fight, but the threat from the Ezreal is too much to stick around.
Scout chose not to continue the fight. Instead, recall, get HP, and come back for the dragon. That's the most important thing that could happen because, of course, Monkey is dead, Smite's available, Scout comes back with full HP. JDG might have just clutched the Elder fight.
Got enough damage here to do it, but overcomes Cube, who's TP back in himself, whereas the Ezreal coming down from mid lane. Weaver's wall thrown down and try and keep Cube away from threat. Still gets the knock up onto Shun, down to half HP, but Taeyun thinks, I just won't be able to get enough damage down in the time available. Dragon's gone.
They're waiting for Pace to respawn. He gets the Elder buff. That's important. Observer showing us that now. Thank you to them. Taeyun doing a hell of a lot of work. Biggest thing about that fight, though, Pace now no longer has summoners. I don't think it was a good enough engage onto the Varus. I think that Cube, Monkey, Karis, and Vampire, all the tools between them, don't actually think that they got enough work done, which is why Pace managed to shred through Monkey and Vampire so quickly, because they didn't quite nail that Varus. And of course, coming now back onto the map, Scout has a death cap. Elder, big item completions. I think WE had the better comp. I think JDG had the better execution.
Currently, so, double globals, necessarily being that much of a problem in the team fights right now. Of course, you've still got to deal with a level 18 Rise, a level 18 Ezreal. This Ezreal is full build. It doesn't necessarily mean that this game is over, because if JDG can't get value out of this Elder, can't get value out of this Baron, particularly in terms of breaking the base in a significant way, then WE is still going to be in a good space come 2 minutes.
You know, those globals have been a real threat. They've been team fighting well around them around mid-game. Just that fight didn't feel like they achieved enough with them. Something which they did earlier into the game, so need to see that once or twice more from them. Elder, of course, minute left of it. JDG have Baron and Elder overlapping, both uber buffs. Ultimates are back up now, though, from WE. Could look for it to force a fight again. It is all about whether Pace can kill those tanks. If the tanks survive long enough into the fight, I actually don't think JDG can answer them that well. It's why everything is about that Varus. If WE kill the Varus, they pretty much win.
That's a heart attack of a gold grab.
It's an EKG.
I know. I feel like the moment it starts flatlining, you know the game is finally over. We're not quite there yet. Ward over that wall there, spotting off a potential angle from Scout. Could be a teleport in if they want it, but they don't have those available. It'd be Monkey burning the ult by himself.
Oh,
missed! Trying to get the Karis, missed. This flash, Shadow Dash. Karis stays alive, doesn't burn out.
That would have literally ended the game. Pace uses ult onto Cube there too. Karis had no flash. Arla messing up the Taunt flash. That could have been an easy end to the game.
Find a big problem. Needs to make sure this one works, as there's the double knockup. In comes the Realm Warp, and Monkey with that Grand Staff. Wonderful double shove, though. Helps keep Pace alive. Vampire staked by the arrows. I guess the shaft of an arrow works just as well as a stake. Monkey nearly dead, almost about to burn out. Steps on forward with the shield, while Arlo still finds the taunt. They puts down the Spirit's Refuge, backs away. Monkey jumped on by Shun with the audacious charge. The Nexus Bear, and JDG will finally end the game.
WE can't clutch it out. They had the better late game comp, but JDG have the... I think MF loses you the game here, legitimately. And it's locked in.
For it. Okay, that's a very strong statement from my co-caster, and I can see it. There's a lot of ways to make this MF ult not look great. It's lame prio. There's that, I suppose.
JDG have about 15 minutes to make an impact. I think as soon as if you don't have a big impact in that time, things get difficult, and I think as soon as it hits 20-25 minutes, it's unwinnable without a lead, without a huge lead. Now, what JDG need to happen is dominant laning phase bot lane. Hard to do into a Jhin very lane dominant. You need to pick off someone like Vampire going for a bad hook or something like that. And, you know, he has been good in laning phase. The other factor is Renekton maybe just does unspeakable things to the Ornn matchup, but make onto the Rift here in Xi'an. Well, I think it's in Xi'an actually, and we'll get into our crowd gyros for the teams.
Gorgeous skybox.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
The comfiest seats in the house. There we go.
Need to be a little careful when you've got the softer voice, because, yeah. Turns out casting with one microphone between two people can be sometimes a little bit awkward when we try and actually get decent game sound as well. Anything to talk about? Well, level 1, JDG walking up and trying to get some vision down. Shun not necessarily actually able to out-duel a Trundle, by the way. Trundle, one of the strongest early duelists in the game. For those of you who weren't around for season 6, 7, Trundle was the premier jungle for a very long time. Vampire's going to hook into the brush and doesn't find missing, but they knew the threat was there.
That'll be an interesting matchup to track, right? Because interesting seeing the statistical projection there. Suggests WE actually, even despite what Alex was talking about, potentially even being decent early as well. The slight edge to them, only 52% versus 49 or whatever. So not a massive discrepancy, but it's there. And part of that, I think, will be things like this Trundle in early skirmishes, notoriously very good. The Nautilus in early skirmishes, very potent. And when you can potentially mess with a Neferi, who won't actually win that duel, it can get very hard.
So, speaking of messing with the Neferi, we have seen on the minimap start on the blue buff running over towards the Raptors, wrapping Renown around the back to see if they can find the Neferi. Level 2 is enough for the Trundle to be an issue. Shun won't see the red buff he started up. There's no way he expects him to be in that brush of all of them. Monkey, you savant!
This is wonderful stuff. Shun now in danger at the level 2, about to get walked up, flashes over the wall, and Monkey follows. Eat Trundle baton. Shun dies for first blood. Monkey in the jungle. It's monkey business. Now Karis, incidental danger, is going to back away on that one.
You got a license for that dog. You got a license for that red buff. Walks into the jungle, and the copper brings down the baton. Monkey gets himself first blood. A great buff steal as well. I'm going to say this. WE may have the best early game of any team within Group Percent. It is absurd how good of an early game Monkey has brought to this team.
He has always been one of those pathers. You ever see him on things like the Graves. It's one of those ones where he knows he has the angle, he has the timing window, he will be on the enemy red buff. He will be on the enemy red buff. Good hook again from Scout, though. Won't quite take the turret shot, and that's a flash off Karis.
Scout doing well in the individual lane. Remember, we were saying JDG have an early game window that they need to abuse. They're not going to be able to easily do that through top lane now because Shun has lost that top side camp, being forced in towards bot side early. Now, of course, he was heading from top to bot anyway, allowing Arla to sit alone in that lane. But Ornn can play as though the jungler's not there because the jungler's not there. It means they can farm up a lot more safely. Often Ornn will fall behind a Renekton. It's a very difficult matchup. This buys a lot of time. And instead, JDG will have to look towards bot side. Very hard to unroot a Jhin at the same time. Jhin Lord was very happy 2v2. And as we were saying, Hickey, look, he's farming up fine. He's not even dropped any CS. In fact, if he farms up perfectly, he's actually slightly ahead in terms of Valor. That's a hell of an overperform here.
He's always been a great tank player. It's been some of the carries we've had a bit more of a question about. But when you can play like this, that rock in the top side can be very, very valuable. Of course, he's into Arla, one of our best players at taking a lead and snowballing with it. I remember seeing 5k advantages on his Kennen last split. We'll have to do something similar here on the Renekton to get value, especially after a rough early start. We've hammered it home a lot, but it's worth repeating. Scout feels like the only person we're seeing right now from JDG who's consistently finding positive trades. Every other member on the Rift right now, not even a great time at the moment I say that. Karis actually turns that around really well as well.
I apologize, Sam. I could have done so much more analysis. Instead, hang on a second, Arla's got a bit of a difficult trade here. All I can think of is how Rel's ultimate actually doesn't work with physics. Rel's ultimate is a magnetic monopole. That doesn't exist within physics. It's actually physically impossible to have a monopole of a magnet. What that means is like everything pulls in towards a single point. It's actually more like a gravity well where everything pulls in like that. Magnet has a north and a south. Where's the south pole of Rel's ultimate? When you do that circle around them. Folks, Rel breaks the laws of physics. That magnet storm don't work.
Vampires found a hook. I mean, we can have a discussion about magnet storms maybe in a second or two as Monkey's roaming on down, Scout about half HP, missing now in danger as well, and he's on Rel, only just about managed to mount up now, gets pulled back by the traffic cone. Man at work signs come up and missing, needs to be missing, gets out to safety, but it's a flash blown.
I was a little bit worried there for Vampire. Hooking the Silas, yes. That's okay. They're not in a position to follow up. Scout, gonna trim this wave. Down a little bit of CS because of the shenanigans with the wave there. Able to freeze the wave now if he wants to, though, a little bit. He'll just trim it a little bit, have a couple of waves extra, and that's why Karis now has to stay in lane, because he realizes, I've got to go push this up again. And now the problem is, Scout just hit level 6, Macedonian Warfare on the table, and Scout has flash, Karis doesn't.
Worth noting as well, because sometimes it's a bit of a discussion is you've spotted something.
Yeah, with again, because look at the 1v1. Monkey has to come up into this lane. We can actually see there's a roam up the river as well on the minimap from jungle support. This is all due to Scout. Looking at that, if he'd hit that chain, that would have been a kill. This is why mid lane wave management is so important.
That's right there from Scout, who has always been one of our master manipulator of waves. It's always one of his strengths was setting up wave states to allow junglers to do cool things. Of course, does love having a mid laner who sets him up well. It's always been one of his proponents. Not so great at being the other way around. However, right now on the Neferi, has managed to stabilize a little. Still not in a great spot. And again, we've already spoken our concerns out about the JDG draft. But again, if there was a strength for JDG, it's that this Silas can really mess with a lot of these champions.
Well, you know what? There's one thing which I hadn't considered. Stolen Trundle into Vampire. That's a little bit of a risky hook now. If he gets stunned up here, that's the problem.
To make it rain, flashes away, should be safe. Bullet time, though, means Vampire. Turns out silver bullets work just as fine on another supernatural creature.
Turns out he's not gonna be fine. Hooks in and just doesn't understand the state of the map. At this point in time, you are on the weak side. Trundle had already shown themselves in mid lane multiple times. What Pace did there, didn't get hit by that W, but wanted to press the barrier because, you know, freaked out by the fact that it would hit, just to protect the back. We've seen this a number of times recently. If the Jin W had hit the barrier, without the root, of course, because CC always cancels backs, if damage goes into the shield, your back isn't interrupted.
Yeah, I think we ought to go back to that conversation about the potential stolen subjugation, because you're right, if you can put that onto, say, that Ornn or that Nautilus, you can make them look very, very thin suddenly.
That might... Yeah, this is a Silas give everything to them and pray game, actually. Now, the problem is, Silas needs Trundle ult and Ornn ult, or Nautilus ult, all in the same fight.
Yes.
And hyper late game, maybe Scout can look for Trundle ult first, gun down the front line, then follow up with a Nautilus ult or an Ornn ult, because there'll be about a 20-second cooldown or something like that. And a long enough fight can make things happen. Hexblock out to the bush, hits missing, here comes Ornn.
Call of the Forge God comes on through. It's a decent stun for a second or two, but it means very little in the grand scheme of things. Missing is MIA. Now there's the Call of the Forgery God, and this time the Rebels have done their paperwork well. Cube goes down, makes it a 1-for-1.
Silas comes to the rescue. Jinol coming through. Scout wanting to body block just a little bit. Fourth shot could kill Shun. Don't step out of the way. That was spooky. Taeun putting a little bit of sweat on the brow of JDG.
He's not exactly high HP there either afterwards, and with Taeun being still with a lot to work with, there's a world where he could have gone for an interesting combo with some flashes and dancing grenades.
Important point, Sam. Schmetzenkin has disagreed with my assessment of magnetism in chat.
Oh, right, let's go.
A challenge in the realm of physics has been issued. I mean, you can't just say, I disagree. It's like just saying perchance and then saying nothing else.
Alex.
Yes.
Theoretically,
yes.
Could Magnet's North Pole, or like, could Veryl's North Pole be on her head and the South Pole be on her feet?
But then you... Sam, the game is 2D and that makes things kind of annoying. So
yeah, but exactly. So you could just have
a
a Z-axis, and therefore actually everything's being pulled in centrally because it's you're not thinking about Z-axis.
But then at that point you would look. But then at that point you. I need to get some like 3D models out at this point. Okay, Hexflash out of the brush, of course, in the fight here with follow-up with the Ornn. This part is good. Trying to stop MF from getting into the fight. They just didn't realize how quick Scout was getting back down to the play, and that, yeah, becomes a bit of an issue at that point. The problem with that magnetic field, by the way, is then at that point you wouldn't be attracted towards the planet. Because at that point it's like, well, it wouldn't actually attract him that way. So what he would end up doing is like slowing you down the sides, and you'd end up just kind of like being, you know, going down like water off a duck's back.
The planet's very attractive. I've seen all those anime girl versions.
That's great, Sam.
See, that's not. Why would you say that?
It's great, Sam. I'm not giving anything more than that. I'm just saying, really, it should be gravity. It should be gravity storm instead of magnet storm for what she's doing.
That's
What if it's multiple magnets in a circle? Then each of the individual magnets would have a north and south pole, which is why it works like that. And if you break a magnet in half, you have a new north and south pole. It doesn't just create one pole and then another one. It creates a new north and south pole. Fun stuff. Anyway, I'm sure you've heard enough about electromagnetism at this point. Very fascinating subject, actually. Just not optics. Optics, in terms of physics,
sucks, yeah.
Everyone hates optics until you get to lasers. That's the only time when people care about it. And yeah, JDG, even in gold. We did say, hey, 15 minutes is really where they need to be, really turning on the afterburners. One item, kind of spike. They're not ahead in top lane. They're slightly ahead in bot lane with Paze getting ahead. This game, if JDG want to do anything, it's all on Scout doing some weird voodoo with Silas ults. And I don't know if he's going to have enough of them in the early game.
Okay, Al.
Yeah.
I'm going to derail this again.
Yeah.
Because my favourite ever excuse for being late to a caster meeting involved optics and lasers.
Why?
Where a friend of ours, doing LJL at the time, basically said, I'm really sorry I'm late. The laser...
Macedonian Warfare!
Macedonian Warfare. You know what? Lasers can wait! Yeah, charges come out. Scout has to flash. And all is fine.
Tell me about lasers, Sam. But first off, you got to talk about Macedonian Warfare. What happens on screen, Sam? Got to do the chores before we talk about optics.
Yeah, but I was just saying, it was my favourite excuse ever. Was a friend of mine saying, I'm sorry I was late for the meeting. My laser in my laboratory blew up. We all took it.
What?
Do you not remember? It was temporal. First ever LJL meeting. It was
Oh,
like because
yeah.
the laser blew up.
Man, yeah, if there's someone, yes. If you're going to miss a meeting, lasers blowing up in your lab, that's pretty valid.
What happened topside then? Looks like there was a Call of the Forge God summons and a bit of a knock-up and a decent chunk onto the Renekton.
I mean, but did he even have to blow his ult? No, he didn't. So, Ola didn't even use flash or ult, so he's happy with that now. Can teleport into the fight with both of them for the next fight.
Dragon is indeed up. Cube doesn't have TP, worth noting. So if he turns up topside, this would potentially be a 4v5 in favour of JDG. As a result, I suspect WE will not be contesting all that hard around the Dragon.
I think particularly with Ola having flash and ult and Cube just using his, no real platform to fight off of. Renekton's now doing this thing, by the way, if you look on the minimap. Pushes beyond the tower, proxies the wave. What he often ends up doing is pushing the wave in hard, pushes it in that direction, walks just beyond it, and gives Ornn a choice of hitting the wave or hitting Renekton. Renekton then walks past the wave, demolishes tower, farms the next wave, and Ornn doesn't really have much to say about it. Free plates for Renekton. That's why the gold lead is starting to get a little bit up there. But that's how you get your gold, really. You get a plate or two pretty easily once that cooldown's up.
The problem is, 200 gold lead is not a game-winning advantage. JDG found themselves 300 gold in the lead, and that's it. They've got themselves a couple bloody petals, but they are trading a dragon for 3 grubs in favour of WE, so it's not like they've got that massive an objective lead either. And we've already said multiple times that we think there is a time constraint theoretically on JDG's composition. Eats a bit of a chunk there, and yes, as we've said multiple times as well, Scout's got some good ults to steal, but an X factor does not an equation make.
I mean, particularly with the Ornn not being behind in early game, I'm super worried for JDG. I'm super worried for them. You're going to have to rely on WE messing up. Shun dodges out on that hook because Nefiri can press W, and that's, completely fair and balanced.
Observer toggle there, as WE did come back down from having stolen that Raptor camp and wanted to see whether they could catch out Shun, who was clearly prepared for that and was hovering the W key on swift order there. Stays alive and safe from a potential bit of CC. Resets beginning to come on through. There's a Nash's Tooth now done for the Azir, who's going more for a side laning build. Understandable, I think, this game, wanting to scale a little bit further on in. And a little look in there from the jungle support JDG. Just putting down the ward, seeing what camps are up, and nothing really happens from that.
Of course, Paze being ahead is one thing with JDG you want to leverage right now. Longer into the game that goes, harder to leverage. See that? Also, a big thing for WE. They don't have that much magic damage to worry about. It is just the Silas. Silas is a melee range diver, so Cube very happy to go towards full AD. Now Scout's also not going towards something like a Riftmaker. Well, obviously not just yet. Going towards that Rod of Ages. Knight the other day went towards the Proto Belt, the Rocket Belt. I keep calling it Proto Belt because I built it in Season 6 or whenever it was. But yeah, he's going towards the Rod of Ages build for a little bit more innate tankiness. Herald now started up from JDG.
And it is JDG in control of the river on the whole. Doesn't look like we're going to see much of a contest here from WE, who are happy again to play this a bit slower, look for pressure down towards that side lane. Azir now with his Nash's Tooth shoving a lot more aggressively. Monkey happy to farm up as well here on the Trundle, take the opportunity to go and steal some Neferi caps. Eventually actually look for a play on this turret while the Herald's going down. Going to rush for first turret. This is a Trundle and Azir. It will just disappear.
He needs Azir ultimate. Trying to clear out the wave. Can't quite do so. And now they fire it backwards. Macedonian warfare.
Unfortunately for them, the push of pikes goes the way of the Azir, who was the original user of it. The deadly flourish lands onto Missy, courtesy of a little bit of Z-Axis shenaniganery. This Cube forced to flash as Ala goes all in on the top side. Gets a bit of a Culver Meek. Can look for a Ruthless Predator here should he so wish. But Cube out to safety. Burns the flash in the ult.
You fools, you should know the way to counter a phalanx is with horse archers instead. Haha. They don't have them. Basically, horse archers were the fighter jets of antiquity. Took a lot of resources.
Trundle counter.
It's a dude with a club.
Big dude with a club.
He's like a giant in Warhammer. Vampire can not be able to stop this red buff being taken away. They used the Trundle pillar to... It doesn't give vision anymore, but used it to walk away a little bit. I still claim by Shun, though, I believe, actually.
Let's just double check the colours around people, because I thought that went towards WE.
Look, Shun had a red buff around him. I didn't see Monkey, which is why I said it that way. Oh, no, he got it. Oh, cool, he got it. It's fine. He got it. I just didn't see him at first. I did check the colours. I just didn't see Monkey.
That's super fair. Which is why I'd like to double check. And it was worth doing in the end.
Delayed sound? Okay, apparently some delayed sound, so we will sort that out real quickly. You're breathing as though you want to talk, Sam.
Interesting, because it didn't seem that. Okay, we are back. Depth charge comes on through, missing, is knocked up, ignited down. There's that magnet storm, or maybe a gravity storm, depending on how prepared you want to be. The physicists among us know that the death of a Trundle is a guarantee. Vampire about to be attacked. Gets Darkened Daggers coming on through, and he's taken down as well. Nice pickup for JDG.
And that's exactly the kind of time point they want to be playing around. A couple of kills coming in. They do lose Ala somewhere in the play, worth noting. As he's down and out. So it's not a completely even play. Herald summon in mid lane. That won't quite full kill the turret. It gets pretty damn close. Dragon now spawning. Monkey is dead. JDG, if they were to get that and get themselves a second dragon, again, they'd be pretty happy with that. As that's where he ended up dying. He ended up dying... Wait, did he?
He died under the turret. It's a 2-turret lead currently to WE.
Yeah, okay. But who killed him?
Looks like Karis, who's now 2-0-1, would be my assumption.
That makes sense. Must have got solo killed then by Karis, who wasn't at that mid lane topside play. WE actually get the dragon too. JDG don't have an objective lead. They don't have a gold lead. They're using Scout and side lane. They won't kill that one either. WE are so happy with this.
Let's have a look and see what happened topside of there. Is that potential solo kill? Ala tries to clear out the wave and does not.
It's just lethal tempo.
Yeah.
My dude, you have flash and all. Ala, you all good there?
Doesn't want to burn cooldowns and dies for it, and the turret falls anyway, so why were you there, Mr. Renekton?
Questions which I do not have the answer to, Sam. I do not have the answer to.
Do you have any questions, though?
Yes. Was ist... welche Farbe ist deine Lieblingsfarbe?
My Lieblingsfarbe ist... Helleblau. Going to say that one today.
Isn't it Hellblau rather than Helleblau?
Hellblau, it will be.
Yeah.
It will be a
Mispronunciation, Sam.
Yeah, because I went with like Hellas beer is where I was going with that, which is like light beer.
But that's not a color, Sam.
I know, but I was using
my favorite color
as a prefix.
My favorite color is light is beer.
No, because I was getting
Sam
Hellas
is definitely not an alcoholic. Sam is definitely not.
You know what I think, Alex? That I don't drink enough water. I need to drink more water.
I just don't get what Ala was doing earlier. Oh, well.
Ale.
Yep.
See, it's all in the beer.
Vampire missed out on that hook. A little bit awkward. He was maybe waiting for a pillar to push them back into position. And Vampire struggling a bit in this series. I think that he does well against teams that show a lot of openings because he's creative at exploiting openings. I think the problem is that Vampire struggles once the creative option is not obvious. Or like he doesn't see that opening very easily. And he often ends up just engaging onto the first target he sees, which can, like, right here, he's more likely to, just like land hook on the rel and then the bullet time comes across him than anything else. That's something which in the development as Vampire as a player, that's the next thing I really need to see him sort out, is not just engaging just on the front line when he feels like other options have been exhausted, because often he has lost in his team engages with that style of play.
Right, Atacon we go. WE starting this one up. Marine command around here. JDG may be forced to come and contest. Interesting, statistically, they're edging JDG here, which is not what I was expecting considering the game state, but statistics be damned. Fights begin. Missing little potential angle. Scout over on the other side, but that is an Atacon secured by the Azir with a final auto. Comboed up with the smite from Monkey. Clean enough.
Teleport into a side lane from Renekton, who's going to go take down that bot lane out of turret. No teleports from W to answer, so that will be their turret taken down in that side. Nala will get himself past that 2 items. But we're now at 21 minutes. No big fight from JDG. WE getting towards 2 items. In fact, 2 items completed on Karis. Ornn items getting built up as well. WE are chilling. They're so chilling. Atacon as well, giving me a little bit more bang for their buck. Yeah, Arlo's got a bit of a gold lead. That's not going to win you a game at this point. You needed to be so far ahead at this point. You had like 500. That's not good enough.
Fantastic. The Neferi, at least is back in the game. 2-1 and 2. A little bit happy. You've got 2 items now in some decent positions. Arla's got to that 2-item mark. That's great news. You're getting towards things like a little Dominic's regards on the sake of Hayes. Actually, it might be the more reminder considering you're into a trundle. We'll see exactly what the decision is as the game goes on. Either way, we'll keep our eyes on it. Triggering both camps there. Finishes off the red buff and pillars the Raptors. We get everything rolling at a similar time window, but the only thing I'll say I'll keep an eye on is the fact that Taeyun's quietly fallen behind a lot of CS here, down about 40 to Pays. Don't know whether that's because he's trading out side lane farm to various other people, but that's still a fairly significant discrepancy there in the bot lane.
Yeah, I think they've been losing a little bit of the mid lane push of Warp. JDG have been playing a little better around that, and Pays with the early kills has really good ability to take very hard trades on the wave now, because he can just walk up, use the Bloodthirster. Even if he loses the actual HP trade, he regens quicker because, you know, lifesteal. Happens like that, really. So, Dragon now in under a minute. JDG don't have early Dragons. Scout is going towards what I assume to be a Riftmaker second now, which I think is quite important in this game, just having that extra fight potential. If you can take individual fights, maybe that's how JDG can make their way back into the game. But, like, JDG... this is a team which, I don't know, I feel like they've overcooked so many drafts. Scout going towards the 0 magic resist on, well, a little bit, but not enough, I don't think.
All the Forge got into knock up, into second knock up, into brittle proc. Scout, though, will still have some Kingslayer healing. It's to dash over the wall with the abscond. Won't need to abduct anywhere else, so he's going to be okay. Bot side, Monkey and Karis looking to combo up. There's the slow. Arla forced to flash as the pillar was enough.
Flash and Dominus both used. Arla really struggling. This Renekton pick not looking fantastic for the side of JDG. Pays will push in towards mid lane. They don't have any grubs, reminder. 3 grubs went over towards WE, who are better at pushing. Dragon has now spawned. Scout can teleport back in with the Ornn ultimate he stole earlier, by the way. That could be huge. This fight could be massive for them.
Scout on one side. WE kind of pincer it now themselves. Shun looking for a potential angle as Karis backs away. There's the call of the Forgery God. Once again, looking to play illegal. The Magnet Storm into the backside is made as Missing goes in. Pays gets a kill onto the Nautilus. Turnaround now as a knock-up onto Scout, who doesn't have any ults to work with quite yet. They have got the man advantage for now as Vampire once again dead to the sunlight.
Shun can hop over that pillar. Needs to be a little bit careful here. Monkey walking up. Scout just hit level 16. That is huge. He can steal another ultimate. Doesn't have the Ornn ult, but could steal something like the Azir ult instead right now. Has that flash. I think W need to call this off. You do not need to fight this. Back off.
Shun throwing up some Dark Daggers. Tane's got the made shove. Where is Scout? Lands the abduct. That's onto the Jhin. Staying alive for a second to flash away. Taeyun flashes on top of the Silas. All the while, the fight continues. Great Emperor's Divide buys time. They've lost 2. Stolen Macedonian warfare once again goes wrong. Deadly flourish wide. Pays trying to dip duck and die as another shot lands. Monkey runs at Arla, and the Renekton will get chomped on down. Another kill to WE, who run over the fight. They lose Vampire at the start and Karis at the end, but everyone else is back up and available.
Scout didn't have ult for the re-engage. Needed to wait for that. JDG misused their window of power. WE will get themselves a Baron, and I think JDG might have just seen them slide towards a 3rd game in this series instead of closing this out in a 2-0 for themselves. You know, this is after You know, the initial pick attack from WE is a little bit off. Bullet time works out very well because the definitely not a magnet storm sends a couple of people in position, but it's not damage onto the carries. Now, what happens after this point is we do see a bit of a disengage. I really think that Scout should have waited for his ult to come back up. It is just it's a very quick cooldown, of course, very quick cooldown. But he needs to get something else that can get a big engage off of this. He goes in now, and he's still got about, 5 seconds on his ult. Does get himself that Eon target to the Jhin, but he has a cleanse. There's some disengage. I think Karis does a good job of making sure that Scout has to back out from Taeyun, and the damage from MF is just not here without the bullet time. I think Paze makes a big mistake there, flashes forwards and does end up getting the kill onto the Azir, but he doesn't quite get it in the right timing for it to matter.
Ala gets run down one way, and then Paze is caught between 3 people. And Taeyun guns him down like the degenerate he is.
Wow, a donkey reference in this day and age.
Absolutely.
Ala's going to take that topside turret. Karis, level 17 to Ala's level 15. JDG are playing a 4v5 at this point, and it's a cancel on the TP. Ala pulls out the Dominus, feeling a little bit more like a Submissius, though, at this point.
Yeah, this is looking like the wrong end of this. Fake Dom. You wouldn't survive in Berlin, would you? The clubs would eat you alive, Ala. He's taken down by Karis for breakfast. All the while, Missing goes down on the other side of the map. Dragon's still up, by the way. Hasn't gone down. Scout will at least claim a tier 2, and JDG are doing a decent job of playing around the lanes, at least. They claim that tier 2, which is decent work. All the while, they're Taeyun with Baron, of course, is going to start running down mid with a lot of a wave.
They have that Baron buff to just keep pushing with the grubs, with everything else. And, while Scout is taking an inhibitor turret by himself, I think JDG, this is about as good as it gets in terms of trading the objectives. You now need to get back to your base to protect the whole damn thing. Paze is alive, does have bullet time, but again, cancelled out. That's not good enough. The pillar goes down. Scout, get back to base!
He's TPing back now. It's going to be too late. Finally turns up, steals the core of the forward god. Can begin to turn it around, but the Nexus is rightly exposed. Monkey goes down. Taeyun trying to trade on now. Karis with the soldiers everywhere. Paze got a double kill though. Look at the orders coming on down as Taeyun is desperately low. But Karis slides, glides, and Paze will just about survive. Karis goes golden. The Marine is making it pay. Damage back from Cuba. Gets a decent knock-up with the Brittle Pocket. It's not going to matter as JDG stay alive.
WE failed to end the game, and now we're in a bit of an interesting scenario, aren't we? Inhibitor will fall in that bot side. WE can't finish things off with the Baron buff, nor will they get themselves the Dragon. Wards not really dropped in the base, so there's no teleport threat from WE onto the Nexus. It is a bare Nexus. Reminder though, Nexus turrets do respawn after a few minutes. What the heck happened here? So Paze is looking for a longer range ult to get some damage down, but you're against a Trundle. You can't ever really freely ult. Big problem of that MF, and one of the reasons we said the MF pick might lose you the game. Doesn't really get that much value. Bit of an overforce towards the turrets. A lot of cooldowns used to try and stop that MF ultimate and to push her out of position. Don't quite see the respawns coming through in time. A barrier clutch from Paze, as Karis can't quite get himself the kill. Very good game from Karis on the whole, but sadly can't finish off that one. So far ahead in individual gold. Very big threat from him. Maybe should have just backed off actually and quit while they're ahead.
Still, the Nexus now exposed. Do lose the Dragon, which is fairly significant, and there is an inhibitor down as well, so JDG, not like they get nothing out of this play. They are still in a damnably difficult position. I don't think it's necessarily going to get easier as this game gets later and later, and the ornaments continue to come on through. The Nash has been upgraded for a while. I think Taeyun has their, I want to say Collector upgraded, didn't quite see as the Baron power play as a whole. 333 gold, and that's it.
Hey.
Lost a few shutdowns at the end of that one. It's the mortal reminder they got upgraded.
Okay, so almost every Ornn item is through Cube, walking down into the mid lane. They can just run at the Nexus. Ala's gonna recall. W do need to be afraid that they over push. Nautilus Assault has now been stolen. Incredible AP ratio on that. There's a death cap on Scout. Scout will be one-shotting people. Ala, be careful there, but he actually might lose the 1v1 versus Trundle, by the way. And actually, it does look like he does. In fact, Trundle, nasty old split push-up. Triforce is enough. Double armor items makes it rough there. Ala. Scout, stolen Nautilus ultimate. There is a Zhonya's on Karis, which will help them survive. But it's enough threat for W to not push towards an end.
Scout, just hovering around here, won't overstep. You can see whether he can clear out a few wards. And again, this Silas is still scary. Death cap in inventory. Arm guard in inventory. 7 stacks on the Dark Seal. If you needed your X Factor to be online, it's online. It's a big old X right now.
So, yes, there is a gold lead towards Karis. Scout, I don't think cares as much about it at this item mark at this point. Karis, huge amount of damage from this Azir, giving a lot of side lane farm. Monkey will shred down a target as well in front of the Azir. If you use the the Trundle ultimate on Sylas, I don't know if JDG can win fights. I actually don't know. Because I think if the Sylas just immediately dies, yes, you can Zonya's stasis through a bit of it, but of course the shred lasts quite a long time. I think the Sylas system instantly dies and JDG can't get the fight which they need. So Scout needs to be very careful about his positioning in regards to Trundle. His positioning in regards to the damage which can come after an ultimate could be dropped onto him. Scout loses that ultimate now. It does time out. Dragon 2.5 minutes. Monkey stopped on the recall. Not really mattering that much, though.
Worth noting as well, Pay's kind of split his itemization a bit here. He's got a BF sword and a Zeal in inventory, so caught between likely be a GA and a rapid fire cannon. So I split that on whether I just need AD right now for this base defense, and that's what was up and available. Sometimes is that kind of thought process, but you can see why that discrepancy is coming on through.
We're now in a one mistake game, folks. Big enough misposition, big enough misuse of a skill, game ends. JDG, I mean, credit to them for getting towards this point of the game. I thought this game was going to be unplayable. Within 2,000 gold, you know, in the power spike of WE now, JDG have won fights, and yes, part of it is WE running towards the Nexus. If there's not a good enough cancel onto Pace, if Scout is not spotted on a flank, you know, if somehow you clump up for a missing Rel ultimate, what I'd assume to be pretty unlosable late game fights is no longer the case here, I don't think. JDG trying to catch out missing, does have to crash down, he will get over that wall. Always a little bit scary when that Trundle pillar starts to get maxed out for that huge slow once it's maxed.
Scout with the Elixir of Sorcery active right now, where there might be an important fight, is not spotted out quite yet, but Karis
he knew it was there. Did they see him? They're pinging him out. There's a lot of movements up towards it. Spotted out now. Shun is on the same side of the rift.
Looking, there's the pillar, gets abducted over, tries to find his way back in, won't be able to find it. Turn around, cycling on through the teleport, flying everyone around about, but that's left Shun a little bit dangerously low. Got slowed down to the Eviscerate, still had him in a dangerous spot. Scout with the stolen Azeroth.
It's a big Q2 proc, actually. Scout, tons of damage. That Void Scuttle going to be able to get some extra vision control coming through. Damage coming through from Shun as well. Of course, Neferi not been the main story of this game. Scout on the flank again, trying to spot out that Fog of War. Always been a magnificent Fog of War play. Close out that ward. Here comes the engage.
Missed the abduct again. Scout finds the phalanx for a second or two, but another phalanx back onto Shun, who goes down. Won't get to Hound's Pursuit. Scout tries to play out and dies. You get one back, but the curtains are called, and that's left LMP's out in a horrible position. Shot comes on through, Sterax procced. Arlet needs to keep running, but Monkey on that frozen domain says this is my kingdom now, and begins to bonk old Arlet on the head flash as a way to safety.
Oh, Scout very nearly assassinated both backliners. WE looking for the end of the game now. Pays, he won't have bullet time. He won't have bullet time, and I think with just Vampire dead, WE, I think they've done it. They've seen off the JDG assault, and we'll bring it to 3 games.
Continuing to walk down mid lane. No jungle, no mid. A 3v5. Apologies, Vampire of course died at the back end of that, but still, does it really matter? The Nexus turret's back up, so there is that, and they can't quite end it.
Okay. Ola manages to intercept the wave. That's the biggest thing there. Managed to just get into the wave, aggro it, and pull it away from the turrets. The turrets have now respawned, by the way. It doesn't show on the minimap, and it won't show in Spectator, but it's been long enough that the Nexus turrets have respawned from JDG. Dragon is up again. Everyone's been ignoring dragons at this point, but like Vampire's actually clearing out a wave in bot, so kind of importantly, you know, he could actually get us towards a second item potentially now at this point, especially with Cube wanting to upgrade a legendary item. Vampire actually needs to have one, by the way, for that to happen. Baron is now being started, though. WE caught a little bit flat-footed on the map.
They are. Hayes sold the Zeal to get a GA completed. Arlet pops Domus on the flank angle. Deadly Flourish goes wide onto Missing. Still lands on that captured Vortians. Can be scary. Still no idea what that Renekton
Monkey's in the pit. Monkey's in the pit.
He is in the pit. Throws down a Subjugate. It's used onto Pays of all people. Trying to make sure that he might die. Call of the Forge now coming across. Looking to get on top of Scout, who absconds away. Big ultimates now down. Abduction goes wide. Still going to try and turn around. The bullet time comes down. Fire! And he's gone. Missing. Got that ultimate rolling alongside the Zeke. Scout with this call of the Forgery. Got Baron secured. But the curtains, big called, brings one down. Arlet in danger. Just about to fight for a second or two longer. Won't quite fall. Karis will throw down enough soldiers, knock up onto Paige, who's gone to the back of the pit, flashes out.
Scout's in big damage!
Oh my god, he just needs to intro at the backs. He's going to do so much damage with this AP with the Baron buff. Oh, that's one. I don't know whether we can stick around for more.
Pace X-skated to stop the backs. He X-skated over, tried to stop the recalls.
Scout's still on the Nexus turrets. They've finally done it. He's going to have the Hexgate out. They can't end the game.
No, it's such a big mistake for JDG. Pace Hex-skated to stop the recalls and instead dies. Scout can't finish the game, and now he has to defend with just the Baron buff on his own against 4 members of the enemy team.
Still don't have a wave in mid. They're going to try and shove up for as best as they can. Missing up in 6 seconds. Ala in 20. Can you hold? Scout got a Zhonya's and a lot of AP. Needs a good stolen ultimate here.
He's trying to intercept the wave, trying to get over the wave. We're just seeing if anyone with that. He's mistimed the wave though. Scout, he's thrown it. Oh my god, Scout might have been able to intercept the wave. Missing is alive now. Ala coming up. Can they defend it? I don't think they can.
Taeyun taking a little bit low. They got a bit scary. The Nexus starts begin to fall. Cube in danger. Scout also low though. Has to have gone away. Arlo with the Dominus gets a pull back onto Monkey, who's going to be threatened himself. Nexus turret falls again. Call of the Forge God goes nowhere. They burn down, missing. Scout steals the Azero, looking for an angle onto Monkey. Gets on the backline. Macedonian warfare. The spears galore. But WE finish what they start and end the game.
JDG fall to WE with smoke, mirrors, and a knife. There's now every chance that you come in with the Kindred ult too to make things even more interesting. Karis goes towards the Orianna, which should win lane against the Annie in the mid lane, so Scout will have to be worried about that. And of course, via Orianna, strong combo. But JDG, I think they have winning top lane. I think they have winning bot lane. I think they have double carries, which can cut down the Cassandra or the Alistar if they go too deep. Same with the Vi as well. And they also have some X factor, like the ability to Xayah R out of the big combo and use the Kindred R to save anyone else who's left.
Be pretty tricky on that front as well, I agree. And then the Vi Kindred matchup is always a fun one. And quite dependent on what build the Vi goes for. In solo queue, you sometimes see things like the Eclipse or the Trinity Force, which gives you a bit more ability to just blow up what is effectively an AD carry with a Save Me button.
Didn't realize we hadn't changed scenes, so. Level 1s, course for it. You know, there's something's already annoyed me, Sam. I'm gonna have to point this out to everyone. Kindred's mask is, look, the portraits on the left-hand side are rotated.
Oh yeah, ooh.
The Kindred mask looks weird when it's like this. I'm just saying. Level 1, double knockup actually comes through from the Rakan. W start from both the Zyra and the Rakan can be very powerful. Of course, Zyra and Rakan both getting the bonuses from the W, if Zyra uses it. And the Alistar does struggle into this lane.
Was the W star the Q star? I thought I saw a few more daggers flying there. There you go. Still some damage down. Taeyun eats it.
Oh yeah, so it is the Q start from Zyra, W start from Rakan.
We are seeing mirrored matchups in the jungle there in terms of the pathing. You sometimes see some interesting ones there. Of course, Shun went for the invade, actually, I believe. So stole away that blue buff, which the Vi isn't knowing about right now.
You ain't knowing about it. Q hits from missing, pushing towards bot side, pushing towards mid lane. And that's why you can go for this kind of play, right? Like, Shun has very happy waves. Xante, what he often will do, will make a choice between either E start or Q start to either use E start to preserve HP or Q to push the wave and lose HP. He uses the Q this time. Olive chooses to let it push in towards him because he knows that his jungler won't be coming towards him too early, and he'll get a bounce back at level 3, level 4. Particularly once you get that second level in the Flame Spitter. Rumble really controls pretty much every wave state against every matchup. Very hard to outpush multiple levels in Rumble Q.
Very hard indeed, and that means with that wave shove, Kindred feeling very happy to just keep farming on through and look to play for one of these early scuttle crabs, see which side the mark spawns. If it spawns top side, great news for sure, you can just go and grab it. If not, you have to wait a few seconds for Monkey to claim the crab on the bottom side and wait for the mark to move over is the way that is often most efficient on the Kindred. Now realizes that there is in fact a missing blue buff and goes to look to see whether someone is available on the other side of the rift, and the mark spawns bottom side. Shun loses that flip.
You can just wait for it to respawn on the top side though, so taking out his first couple of camps can wait for that first mark on the top side to respawn. Now Missing and Pays will know that they're on the weak side of the map. They don't need to contest this wave too hard. Frog's respawn not coming through just yet. Monkey hopping around the back of the lane. I mean, Pays and Missing do need to be a little bit careful here. Just clip the wave as best you can. Spot out Monkey here. You can see Shun, he's not killing that topside scuttle. Doesn't matter that you quote-unquote lose the flip, because you can just walk back out onto the map, take the top scuttle anyway. Doesn't matter.
We'll have that Rectrix in inventory, goes for that first buy, gets a control ward as well. We'll look to head back on up. There's the pings towards that top side of the map saying exactly that mark should be spawning basically as soon as Kindred gets back.
And also the big thing here, we did say, hey, level 4 is where Rumble will get the push back in. Has used that level 4, will get the push for the time to run down to top river and help secure that scuttle as well. So if there was any contest with Vi walking towards the river, they would have mid and top lane both pushing into them. With also Shun coming back onto the map with a first buy. There's no way you can approach that top river. Shun actually going to leave that mark, play around the mind game, use the stun, and Karis flashes and dies.
Going to try and find his own flash, and Kindred gets that kill. It's not going to be a mark. Didn't want to warn the mid laner that something was coming. But either way, nice kill. Scout holds on to his flash. Karis burns theirs. It's all looking pretty good here for Shun, who's actually thinking about heading for just that vision plan. I wasn't sure whether the Raptor respawn might be a consideration, but the mark is a much easier win.
No, you can see the mind game there, because what we were saying is the mindset that W would have is, look, we're not contesting this topside scuttle. That's gone. So Karis is like, okay, he'll be on topside scuttle. He'll be getting that mark. And he doesn't quite understand that actually Shun could still just delay the scuttle a little longer, come for a mid gank instead. First kill onto that Kindred. It's before the level 6 mark, so it's hard to punish it as the Vi, right, where you'd go for a flash ult immediately onto them. Not at that point in the game yet, but that could be a big issue. Shun, showing mastery over this champion, has always been a good Kindred player, and affecting the game right from the off.
Equalizer topside shove continues. Cube not quite at that level 6 mark, should be there on this wave at some point, but still going to give a nice reset over to Arlo, who's actually managed to hold on to both his pots from this lane as well, so feeling relatively happy about the lane state. While Kindred got another back off after that kill, and Skullcrab Martin's now going to farm their way towards the top side of the map.
Shun is so happy. Shun is so happy. Late waves are all doing fine. I suppose WE, they're okay with the fact that their bot lane is getting out of lane. That's important to them. A little bit behind 5 CS. Who cares? Actually, at that point, you know, not a big enough issue to make a fuss about it. So Vampire on the Alistar. I was a little bit worried that they would get decked in lane if the early game went a certain way. Hasn't been the case. They'll at least be able to play the game out. Of course, the trade-off is, Kindred's scary. So you can take your pick of the litter. Do you prefer the Alistar getting out of the lane or the Kindred getting a first kill and getting that first scuttle mark as well? For me, I'm on the Kindred side of the equation. All in mid lane, good burst.
Chunk out there on Karis, who has got the phase rush, so we'll be able to run away at least, but loses a third to half their HP, courtesy of a giant bear attacking their face. It's a flaming bear. Even scarier as Monkey is having to fight over his own Gromp camp with a matched level missing, just being as obnoxious as he can be.
And Shun has hit level 6 now. Scout going towards bot side has burst out the mid laner. He can just charge up his passive again. Doesn't have the anti-tibbers, but doesn't need it.
That'll be a very dead Cube. No, it's not. Footwork comes on through, buys enough time. There's the Vault Breaker from Missing, but Shun now on over. He's got a
Waiting
mark
for the
on
mark.
the Kindred, on the Cassante. Smiting away, 20% HP. Cube still got Flash and all out, though. This gets interesting. W comes on down. ADG still going to stick around. Mountain Dread now beginning to stack. Cube goes down. Shun will be forced ult, but does so well.
Karis is coming down. He will be able to kill Shun on the back end of this, though. Doesn't have the flash. They will get another kill onto Vi, but Karis at least picks up the Kindred. Kindred gets a mark. A plate is taken, and it's a 2-for-1. While all this is happening, Al is trying to make his way back towards topside. He needs to be a little careful. Doesn't flash out of the combo.
That's the pulverize. There's the flash forward. Sterling phase rush away, throws down the equalizer onto the wave. Not the easiest moment now for Taeyun. Going to continue trading on out. Actually runs out of cooldowns. He's in danger. Now begins to supercharge back on in. Vampire will have the cooldown up and available shortly. And it's well played. Taeyun does pick up the kill in the end.
I think Ala maybe makes a mistake by not flashing out of the combo. I think he could have just gone no kill to no kill. Flash out of the combo, equalize the next wave. I think he would have been safe. Bit of a mistake there from Ala. Grubs have now spawned. Shun back out onto the map 2 and 1. Almost 1,000 gold ahead. Take that second scuttle. Shun has 3 marks now, actually. So he's 1 off of that range increase, which is one of the biggest power spikes for Kindred. A lot of people forget that you get stats from each. You get stats from each stack. So that's obviously important in its own right. Goes towards these grubs, farming them quickly.
Cube roaming up through mid. Maybe McPay's in a dangerous position. Maybe forced to ult here and will do so. Vi coming on over. Has got to level 6. Could make this quite tricky for Shun. Will pick up a second grub and then look to back away. Scout was roaming down the river to help potentially defend. Scout now in danger himself. Gets CC'd assisted. Shun not able to get over the wall freely because the ball was threatening. So Scout has to flash on out to safety.
But no kills for WE. And they only get the 1 grub. So JDG, I still think, come out ahead from this. Scout's even walking up again. He's full charged up his passive once more. Monkey doesn't have ult now. He'll be able to... Well, he doesn't have that smite. I don't know if that's a play you want to take, Vampire. That's dangerous.
Go on forwards. Doesn't quite have the will to make himself unbreakable as yet. Still working up to it, you know. It's an every now and then thing. Bravery is not an easy thing to continually pull out on demand.
I really have a great follow-up.
Just don't know what you want to say. I feel that's a fairly good philosophical statement.
I'm happy that you... Well, you know...
Does bravery have a cooldown, Alex?
I feel like bravery is not tied to a cooldown, it's tied to a situation. Now, you can say that bravery is not applicable in every situation. Perhaps bravery is not ever present because you're not always in a situation where you have to show bravery. Oh, is it conditional? Is bravery conditional? Harris does have Shockwave again. Could potentially kill Scout here, actually. Scout needs to be a little careful.
Look, as Elrond once said, I was there when the strength of men failed, you know? And that's true, you know? Men can't always be the strength...
Oh, he was there when the 100 men faced the gorilla? Damn.
He was, yeah. I mean, Medic had a very apt statement on LEC last night. He said, like, lads, we conquered the Earth. You understand that we used to take down mountains, you know?
Well, we do have dragons coming down. We conquered the Earth with dragons. Good knockup from Missing. Good delaying action.
There we go. I was talking about gorillas. JDG, why are we fighting? Still violence commences. Taeyun, killer instinct to the back end, but it's a good Lamb's Respite. Teen has to supercharge away. The equalizer at the death of the Lamb's Respite makes this one interesting indeed.
No.
It's still not quite enough though. Headbutt over the wall as Cube surviving with that footwork gives a triple kill over to Taeyun.
Excellent play from Cube and Vampire. The equalizer looks flashy, but the substance is lacking. Now, that's a lot of what happens in that play. Not really enough items yet. Pays didn't have the ult off cooldown to really disengage. And I wonder whether Pays just had to walk away from the wall, because Cube punts him straight into the pit. Now, Scout has a good combo here. Drops the Tibbers down on Karras' head. There is a Shockwave available to trade back, though.
Command Dissonance. The Incinerate comes on forward.
Oh, he's dead. Scout is dead.
Scout could be in a lot of danger. Command attack goes wide. What about the command track? Pull back. Could be dangerous. Look for the second Dissonance charge. And there it is with the flash.
Karras just has better continued damage and had the flash to make sure that it landed. WE outplaying in the last minute. And JDG not respecting their own cooldowns being down, and also not having the right items in place. Taeyun now 4-0 on the Kai'Sa. So very, very fed. And WE might have just pulled them out of the early deficit that was really worrying them.
What was happening? Karras was trying to teleport down to that play, got interrupted by the Tibbers. That's where that ultimate got used. Either way, in the long run, it's another death over. WE leading on that mark now, up about 600 gold. Decent breakpoint. Shun just finished up the Kraken Slayer. Still, they decide to go towards. So you'll sometimes see Kindred look towards Trinity Force first, sometimes the Collector's first. It's a relatively versatile build option depending on how you want to play the game. It has gone towards that more selfish on-hit scaling option.
Sometimes see the Yuntal as well, which can be really nice alongside all of the other traditional kind of crit 80 carries. Pays not at that one item yet. There is a gold deficit in this bot lane, which is larger than the overall gold lead, which is a big problem. 1,000 gold behind his Pays from Taeyun. And JDG, you know, I have been worried about, you know, their draft. I think this draft is better. But one of the things which I was worried about in this matchup is that I think WE have one of the best early games in the whole damn league. Now, they don't always capitalize on it, and that's the reason why they're, you know, they lost so many games at the start of the season. They could have good look-ins, but they couldn't capitalize. I think their team fighting is largely worse than other teams in Group Ascend. but their early games have been something very, very threatening, and now JDG have thrown a bone over towards W once they were ahead. That's a big problem.
I feel like as well, Arla has now had a couple games where I've gone, you actually didn't have the best Shen game, and the Scion was really problematic. You then had your Renekton game where you struggled to find serious value, got a couple hundred gold out of the lane, that's it. We're now into a game where he's got a theoretically very hard winning matchup and is up 200 gold, but he's 0-2 versus Cube, who's already had a fantastic team fight. It's not game breaking yet. I don't think it's necessarily out of the lane per se from Arla, but this isn't what you want out of one of your superstar carry tops. As top side,
no flash
gets engaged on, does just flash away to safety, flash, headbutt into the wall, there's the pulverize, and the shockwave after Cowball. But Scout says I don't go down that easy and throws out Tibbers as a hey catch at the end of it all.
So that's going to be turret down and top side. Shun is going to get his 4th mark off the bot scuttle while this is happening, by the way. I think that's one of the reasons why W thought, look, we can definitely go towards top side. There's no way that Shun wants to be on top side of the map. 4th mark for Shun. Range increase, extra stats completed as well. But W continuing to make plays. They'll take down that first top lane turret, teleport into mid lane to protect that. And WE, do they get themselves full feats of strength for this? No, they don't, because there's another objective. Well, they get the 1 up there. First kills were taken by JDG, and they're 2 up and there's objectives.
Shun hops out of the bush, gets the mounting dread down, but Cube doesn't really take that much meaningful damage. Now, of course, the Kainic Wukern does kind of cheat the health bar a little bit there, because, of course, the Kindred largely doing physical damage. Either way, turret's still going to be taken by JDG on this bot side, and Cube not able to get towards that way.
Herald in 30, Dragon in 45. JDG have cooldowns coming up to fight for that one. I think Monkey having his ult down and Vampire having his ult down could be a big strategic loss here, actually. If you give over the next Dragon, next Herald could be a bit of a problem. So what happens there is Scout ends up flashing far enough that the Orianna drops the ball range. So what happens here? Drops the aggro, and then gets blasted by Tibbers. Didn't want to... I think maybe they thought they'd need a little bit more time to kill the Annie, which they did, actually. But Monkey should never have turned around that. Big mistake from him.
He'd done the tanking of the turret, and then it was Alistair's turn, and that's all well and good. The aggro had switched. The problem is your health bar hasn't increased by any meaningful amount in the 5 seconds since the turret wasn't autoing you. And Annie presses R.
Shun building up towards that Phage. Might be going towards the Black Cleaver. Could go towards the Triforce as well. Choices available for Shun. This would get them feats of strength, that Herald, and also ability to break open that mid lane turret, which is already on low HP. So JDG, I think strategically, despite the fact that they're down in gold, fairly happy taking that Herald, getting feats of strength, and potentially opening up the map.
It's like Shun will going towards the Black Cleaver second, so it is more that slightly more on-hit build, not the crit option from the Kindred by the looks of that Phage and infantry. Always worth keeping your eyes on. Immediately drop the Herald down mid lane. Teleports coming on forwards. They want to try and defend this. Turret goes down. Shun gets over the wall, has to flash, can still look to ult if required. Beginning to turn it around as Monkey flashes in turn. As Missing went looking for that grand entrance. Both junglers down that summoner stuff.
Hayes used the Ghost as well, trying to turn things around. Mid lane turret goes down. And I think JDG, as we were saying before, is strategically pretty happy with that. Yes, W get themselves that second Dragon, so it's not a second stack for JDG. But the fact that they get to kind of now have unparalleled access towards this mid lane while their AD carry is behind, that's kind of huge, actually, because Hayes wouldn't have been able to push up that easily on his own to get that. That's kind of against the run of play.
Very important question from chat as well. Derek over in the YouTube chat's asking, you know, I missed the morning's matches. You're still here just in time for the deciding one for this one, so don't worry too much about it. It's been some fun matches. Suggest going back and watching the VODs. However, the more important question is how have we been doing in the word game? And the answer, Derek, is very well. Up to level 18. It's looking good. So if you hang around after this game, you can join in and keep going with the words on stream, which is clearly why the majority of people are in this chat, not the League of Legends game.
Shun takes another scuttle. Shun getting pretty spooky. Now, I will say, Kara's going towards Seraphs. He needs extra damage immediately. Frogs spotted out here. Can't quite get towards that. Shun spots out the ward, which spotted him walking up towards that.
I told a lie about the Kindred build with that half-bound axe. I keep forgetting that Phage doesn't build into Black Cleaver anymore. It'll be the Trinity for a second, won't it?
Phage does build into Black Cleaver.
It does? Okay, so it's Phage and... I was right. Phew, I saw the half-bound axe.
Which is Sam, did you miss what I said? Either building into Black Cleaver or Triforce.
I think
you just
I did
completely
miss that
ignored me,
second
Sam.
bit. Yeah, I did. Unintentionally so, but I ignored my color caster. Oops. Shouldn't do that.
Cube on the wrong side of the map, on the weak side of the map. Arla can walk up and equalize the next wave. Cube can't do that. He also has a lot of magic resist and no armor. So Shun and Paze will be able to shred through him.
Should not change the marks, doesn't need to. They'll just clear out that turret, and Cube's going to go all out. It's a pretty solid all out as well. Drag's missing miles away.
What?
So Cube
But
survive.
why did you position against the wall like that? That's a free kill you just gave up. Missing. Why?
Cube gets out to safety, equalize in the mid lane, should save that turret. The trade on the bot side, though, is a relatively easy turret take of the
We have played versus Cassante for years at this point. Cube now might be able to flash his way to safety. Here comes missing.
All out, flash, W, gets the kill anyway, and Cube doesn't extract after all.
All right, so it is the kill after that point. It takes an extra flash and an ult from missing. But guys, we've played against Cassante for how many years now? It's been since, what, 23, 22? We've played against it for 3 years. We should know the stuff about this. Now to have a potential fight coming towards topside. Missing. What cooldowns has he got left?
Battle dance wave, flash, headbutt, hold, but he's out of range for the ball. Against to throw down that unbreakable will. But why are we so brave right now? Do you have to be that brave to go forwards there? Doesn't really get that much value for WE. A little bit of an overforce there from Vampire, has to be said.
Yeah, loses the flash, and that's important, because that flash combo could be absolutely crucial. I think he was trying to set up for potential Kaiser ult into the backline, but you don't want to do that while Shun has the ult still, Pei still has the ult. I think you'd be diving into all of the anti-dive tools, which JDG would love to use in such a situation. Dragging down 2 minutes, the next big objective on the table. I know that Atachan's coming in a minute, but that's unlikely to be taken on spawn. Pei's recall stop.
Trinity Force just done for the Kindred, who is the majority of the kills right now. We'll have a look in, for JDG specifically, as WE. We see Cube think he's safe. He's got control wards everywhere, and he doesn't spot that ward there.
I mean, your wave's pushed in towards the inner turret. Quite clearly someone could be in that vision there, as they've just taken that top lane turret. Just walked onto your mid lane inner turret. There's absolutely no reason to do this. There's no reason to do this. While you were walking out onto the map, Karis could have picked up that top wave anyway, and Cube is going to die again. For someone who I think has had actually very good couple of series in a row, this game is a disaster. Don't forget, you know, his early games in the series on the Scion, on the Ornn, very impactful. But sadly, this Cassante, not great in the meta right now, and even worse in the gameplay.
Great team fight around the dragon, and then 2 back-to-back deaths is problematic. He'd done the hard work to escape the top side, and now finds himself getting picked off a little bit. Doesn't look all that tanky right now with the Liandry's completed and the Kindred with enough AD to really chunk through that one. There's that 1v2, couldn't find that Q3. That meant it was a dead Cassante.
Shun has 6 marks, by the way. I think you got a Krug steal through that to get another stack up. 1 more stack, and you get an extra range increase. The first one gives you 50 range. Everyone after that, I believe, is 25. After that point, if you get to 10 marks, I believe at that point you match Caitlyn range, which is very fun. You start on 550, I think it is, or 500. Is it 500 off Kindred?
You start 525.
525, so you get up to 575, up to 600 on 7 marks, which is kind of insane, by the way. So yeah, obviously at that point you become an actual AD carry, not just kind of like a brawler with a tiny bit of range to yourself, using that W to scout out areas. You max out that W second, by the way, because the percent HP damage is kind of nasty, and it also procs your Scorch Claw, which is also very unfair.
So it means you get to keep your dance of arrows up more regularly, because it reduces the cooldown when you're in it. So the more W's you get, the more Qs you get, and that's always super valuable.
Really helps you get over these choke points, especially in the setup for a dragon like this. Going onto it, WE, go past that choke point though.
Wards in favor of WE right now. Arla going to get jumped on, and they'll drain Tayun over with the killer instinct. Now there's Arla. Varus Rumble goes down for the count. Doesn't really find out much value. Doesn't even get to equalize. JDG still going to try and play this out. Despite it being a 4v5, Shun can hop over the back of the wall here, should he so choose. Scout also looking for an angle with a flash. Tibber's available.
Shockwave on the table. None of the big engage ults besides that. Here comes Scouts.
Looks for the big engage. Grand entrance and the quickness. Buys time onto Monkey character there. The Shockwave on the 2 in turn. Vampire face checking, doing some work. Cube goes all out. Shun's Landorus bite. Buys time, giving Pei's chance to put some feathers out. But a turnaround makes this very difficult. The feathers get pulled. Doesn't mean a damn thing. Shun hops over the wall. Dance of Arrows buying some time, but all the while they're just running to their own tier 1. To what end? Their health bar is just so much better. Flash, command, attack, distance, turning around on the Karis, who is stuck on the turret. Tayun begins to make it rain, and Shun gets the W passive healing.
Teleport in from Ola, has the equalizer, which could change absolutely everything. Trying to get one last kill. Vampire will be brought down. Karis, I think, will survive. JDG lose the dragon and arguably still lose the team fight, but it could have gone so much worse.
Some heroics at the end from Shun on a good teleport make that one a much better affair than it might have been. Teleport back in from Scout. Monkey needs to retreat now. Of course, he is a Vi, so should be able to back away. The thing that is up, though, is the Atachan. JDG don't want to rush that, though.
Well, I think they can. It's just when Shun gets over there. Arla doesn't want to solo it. So Shun will come over. They will get the Atakan. But make no mistake, WE winning out a lot harder than they thought they had any right to. After they used a lot of their engage to just kill Arla. Monkey is now in the area. Has Smite. Does have ult back again. Shun doesn't have ult. I think Monkey will just leave well alone, though.
Charging up the Q, but
Not worth dying for.
Doesn't want to die for it. It's not the Atakan's evolved. It's still a decent buff, but it's not quite as potent as it once might have been.
Go into the replay. So Arla gets caught out. Doesn't spot that blue trinket. It's a good pick onto Arla. And it's clean. Get his flash out as well, and he doesn't even use that equalizer. I still think JDG are in a position where they're like, well, there's no Kai'Sa ult, no Vial. We should be happy to at least take the dragon at this point. I think there is a disconnect between what the teams want to do. Scout goes into the backline, gets some damage down, but there's no follow-up. Cube immediately puts himself into the backline and says, right, you're not following up onto the carries. And that's when I think the mistakes start to happen. I think that Pays doesn't manage to get all of the damage down onto a single target. Gets some damage onto Taeyun, some damage onto Cube. Can't really do that much after that point. And it leaves Shun to pick up the pieces. And luckily he does. I think there's a mistake here with Vampire dropping aggro a little bit early. I think he could have taken an extra tower shot. Him taking an extra tower shot there would have potentially allowed Taeyun and Karis to actually take those kills. Did do a good job of frontlining before that, but sadly after this point, I think they just communicate towards the back end of the fight after the initial entry was so good.
Footwork and Command Protect gave about 500 damage and shields there to Karis, so ends up being not as threatened by that equalizer as they might have been, and then we come back towards his Atakan. Monkey sees it, but just doesn't really have the tools to come and contest for free, and so Atakan secured by the side of JDG as...
Did something happen after the play?
Like
so Arla dies after... Hang on a second. This was during the replay. So Arla goes into overheat and he dies. Right, okay. So just bad recall from him. Not sure why he chose to recall there. Extra kill coming through. Taeyun has his ult back up again now. Monkey has his ult back up again now as we come out of the replay. Almost a 2,000 gold lead for Taeyun, who I think has been the real heart and soul of WE and their revival. I think that WE, they wouldn't be anywhere close to where they are without Taeyun's Ezreal, Taeyun's Kai'Sa.
Very consistent.
He's been very consistently impacting games in a way that he was absolutely not when he was over in the LCK. He's found a real lease on life here in the LPL in a way that, you know, a number of players have done over here. Worth noting, Karis has gone towards the Storm Surge back the second, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He's trying to split the difference between good stats from the Seraphs and trying to go more towards a burst-oriented build on that Storm Surge. Does help him take down that first target.
In fairness, you're into a very squishy comp. If you want that shockwave to land really hard and threaten people like the double AD carries and the Annie, it's not a bad way of doing it. Of course, the other side of this is this Kindred is getting alarmingly scary. I don't think quite got that 7th mark. It was Shun who was being marked. There you go, it's 6 at the minute. And it's going towards a Collector here. Shun, or Monkey rather. Did just face check Arla, but no one's going to turn around or stop pulling any ultimate buttons. Ends up just being a bit of nothing is missing. Doesn't know that anyone's there. Will now. Won't be in too much danger. Can look to clear out those wards.
Dragon spawning in a minute, so that would be soul point for W, not the soul itself. So you see again that W actually quite good at poking people out from range, weirdly. JDG do have scouts flash up for that. They do have Pays' flash back up, so that they'll have all of their big summoners. Missing stops on the recall should still be fine. Has himself the Chain Lace Crushers. At least now Monkey is getting spotted out there. Has the mark back onto him. Of course, he's the guy that's going to be flying into a team fight. Quite likely to see the Vi die in a lot of these team fights, especially with a ton of that disengage. Shun trying to walk over. Trying to just chunk out a little bit of the HP before the fight starts. Don't have that many options to do so. They don't have any vision on bot side either.
No, they don't. Throw out some of those feathers. Scuttle Crab goes to Monkey, who gets that one with the smite.
It means that they leave bot side river alone, though. Leave it alone. It means that they're not in the river. They've shown themselves. They've given up their chokehold on that point. Pays gets to get a bit of a chunk, take out that mid wave. You see now JDG can walk into bot river because WE went to go towards that Void Scuttle on top side.
Dragon is up. Blue buff would be the 7th mark for Shun if you want to go fight for it. You can see missing in that banana bush. I think to potentially come and fight over this with the rest of the squad. The river is JDG's, but WE here in force going to fight their way into the river.
Shun needs to be careful. I do not want to be eating QWs like that. W again trying to hold that choke point. Vampire on the flank has himself a flash. Can he get himself a big engage?
Cube gets hit there by a little bit of root damage. The Kainic Rooker and shield sparing his blushes a little bit there. Has a little less HP than you might otherwise think. Vampire Trading out with that side of Missing, who does go throw down the quickness. Shockwave is good, but it's a decent ult from Pays to buy time. The equalizer after. Solid. Scout. Dead. Vampire. Flash. Pulverize. Gets onto Missing and Olive, but the turnaround damage is still too much. Ends up being that 1-for-1.
Taeyeon used that ult. The shotgun is gone now from WE, but they still have a very long-range carry to W. Dragon getting taken down low. W, can they fight with that ultimate? It is a hard ask. Cube might be able to TP in. I think they leave it alone. It'll end up just being a 1-for-1. Dragon going to JDG.
It's a big one. Stop Soul Point coming the way of WE. You wondered whether when Scout died, it could be that turnaround, but they just don't have enough of an HP bar. Engage there from Missing, brings down some important people, and Pays very fast with that. Featherstorm?
Featherstorm, yeah. I have to say, I really think Missing was the key player in that fight for JDG. WE, one of their issues, and this is a vampire issue, sometimes he engages onto the target that's in front of him. Right there, he chooses the Rakan, and they use a lot of their combos onto them. And I don't think that's the right call. Missing makes it out alive, whilst also still being able to get into the backline too. I think the feats of strength for those boots make him actually surprisingly quite hard to kill, especially with the Celestial opposition as well. Missing outvaluing there in the support matchup and somehow making it out alive on very, very low HP. I think if he hadn't done that disrupting work, WE could have walked away with another team fight. I'm getting quite worried, by the way, that Cube is not taking any damage. There's no Lord Dominance regards on Pays. Cube, he's just not dying very quickly at all. There's no Lord Doms on Shun. I think that's a huge mistake. I think he should not have gone for Collector third. I think it loses value as the game goes on. You need to kill the front line. I think Pays as well desperately needs a Last Whisper.
With 6 marks and a Mounting Dread, it's not a bad combo with that, but then you're not hurting the front line. You will hurt everyone else, potentially, but is that what you need to be doing here in this game?
Collector is basically a first item rush only right now. Hang on a second. Karis, he has Flash. Does respect that well enough as Missing just tips his head out of that brush there. But Shun, he's not going to be killing tanks in the way that you'd like him to. Doesn't have a Black Cleaver, doesn't have a Lord Doms. Yes, does some decent damage onto the squishies, but the Collector feels like it's the wrong item choice here instead of the Lord Doms. Karis still paying respect towards the top side Fog of War.
Decisions now made for however standard it may be on the Kindred into this game. You have to wonder, don't you? And with that Randuin's done on Cube as well, there is no Iceborne Gauntlet. Knows exactly what his job here is this game. It's be in the front line as obnoxiously as possible for as long as possible.
Vampire no Flash, harder for him to be a ball carrier, but still very, very scary. Missing a level up on him right now. Has a second tier of the ultimate for that quickness. Also, Vampire, if he could get the second tier of ultimate, gets a lot tanker at that point. Pays them 3 items. They have very good Baron damage, by the way. W do need to be quite careful of that. Better terrain for JDG on blue side too. They're not stuck against the wall. It's a little harder for W to engage over the wall with champions like the Orianna, kind of stuck in those choke points sometimes. Missing, warding, trying to get some extra vision down. JDG slowly creeping their way towards a potential Baron star.
Nearly at 31 minutes. Quite there yet. We're still building towards it. 2 minutes until that Dragon Beast Soul Point for either team. It is JDG with the feats of strength, I suppose, with one additional break point, which they did get that earlier at Atakan, even if afterwards we saw Ala a little greedy for that wave in bot side that allowed Monkey to find that pick off with the cease and desist. Eyes, though, on people like Taeyeon, who has got an arm guard alongside the 3 items. Just all the Zhonya's completed by Karis as well. So for all, we've been keeping our eyes on some of the scary carries from JDG. WE have got some very threatening members of their own now.
Level 16 on Kai'Su means the ultimate is a ridiculously long-range follow-up, ridiculously large shield as well. Scout's not gone for full burst. He's going for a little bit of a slower burn build. Harder to play that on the Tibbers nowadays. The Tibbers burst itself, burn itself a little less impactful. But what this does is you'll drop the Tibbers on the backline, and then they just kind of get stuck in this fiery aura. It's a bit of a problem. Control will dropped on the Baron. Minute and a half until the next Dragon. No one has sold point yet. Once again, we're going late game. We've had 3 games which went right the distance between these teams now. JDG, I think that's quite telling of their splits, really, sadly for them. A team which should really be top table has been dragged down into the mid-table, won 3 series on back-to-back, lost 3 back-to-back, clawed their way back into another 3, but then they lost a couple after that. It's been very up and down, very streaky from this team. They'd love to be on the positive end of that, especially against WE. Yes, a team that's on the resurgence, but definitely not a team which we expect to be top tier. We'll hop over the wall, be safe. Dragon out less than a minute. Big items completed. GA from Monkey, importantly.
Your eyes on that one makes it a lot easier for him to go all in. If you blow your full combo to survive the initial moment.
Scout
is on a good flank here. Flash up, ult up, stun charged. And you find someone being unwise in their pathing.
WE, they haven't spotted the Annie, but the fact that they haven't spotted the Annie should at least get their hackles up a little bit. Where is the kid with the bat? On the flank, they do spot out one of those potential angles. But they haven't closed that off completely. He's landing onto Vampire. That's a problem. You want as much health on that Alistair as possible. Don't want him going down for free. Shun took a lot of damage, though. Not exactly sure what from. Again, where is that Annie? Where can they be? Here he comes.
Speeds himself up with the Molten Shield, looking to potentially engage. Throws out the Disintegrate, but it's well buffered through by Cube, who loses his Kanic Recurrent Shield, but that's it, and the mid-tier 1 falls as a result of JDG's posture.
And this is as Dragon spawns. JDG now have to give up this Dragon. They're not allowed into that bot river, WE. They're sending Taeyeon to actually go to it alone. Remember, level 16, very long-range ultimate. If worst comes to worst, WE, they throw someone into the engage, and Taeyeon can take the Dragon and then come back over towards that Baron with a long-range ultimate. Here we go. Baron started. WE, what's the plan?
Baron's being rushed down, monkeys around, solos out the Dragon, just Taeyeon can join very aggressive with the opening, goes missing with the Grand Entrance Quickness combo, and they blow up the Orianna. No defenses available to keep her alive. Vampire headbutts to the minions to try and stay out as Cube goes down, Scout burns him out with a Disintegrate. Makes Darth Vader very angry indeed. No carbon.
No incinerations as JDG managed to find a gap where the front line of WE missed position. Vampire's too far on the flank, Cube's too far on the flank, and none of them can protect the carries. Karras gets absolutely obliterated before he can press the Zhonya's. JDG lose the Dragon, pick up the kills, pick up the Baron, and that should hopefully allow them to control the map a little harder. While this is happening, WE are pushing mid lane. They want to get some waves in control, maybe cut off a little bit of the threat of this Baron push, but WE just made a big late game macro mistake. Biggest thing here, Vampire's well too off on the side, and Cube can't protect Karras. Karras positioning quite poorly, but you got to know that there's big engages available. You haven't got the topside vision. You can't position like this. Vampire on the other side even gets hit by a couple of Electro Harpoons, and he can't counter-engage in any way. Mistake huge there, as Taeyeon's not even close to the play. Could have joined with his ultimate. Does at least cut one back onto missing, but it's too little too late.
Season Assist did some work there. Dragon was accused. They have got Soul Point. If they can stall out this Baron, things might get interesting again. The problem is, of course, you are starting to get towards the point
where we do get those last whispers coming in. A huge item just built in by the Xayah and by Kindred there as well, going up towards that last whisper. We are getting to the point now where Cube is no longer the undamageable front line.
He really isn't. And you saw the footwork come on through to try and keep Karras alive, but between that and a command attack, command protect, and a Seraph who still got absolutely blown up. You're just not tanky enough on this Orianna if you're in danger here. Vampire with the Hex Flash will flash that. Good Zhonya's from Arla to ensure that the Shockwave doesn't land.
And that's a problem. You are now down your Shockwave in a very important base defense. Scout uses... hang on a second, that's a bit of a problem. Missing does survive that. You're not able to quickly blow through the Baron defense now. You're going to lose some towers here. Could have been your big blowout moment to stop this Baron buff being particularly powerful.
Arla smacks that turret, does so. Brings down an additional bit of work. While though, we are looking at a game state that is slipping away from WE. It's only 3,000 or so gold. And the Baron doesn't look like he's going to break the base. So they can look to fight over this Infernal Soul, and maybe use that as a way to get back in. You've got 4 items on a Kai'Sa, you never say die.
My problem is just that we were at a point where Cube was unkillable. That's no longer the case. Void Staff, double pen items coming in from the AD carries as well. So WE, they now need to find a way to quickly blow up the carries, and you don't have the same delaying factor of your frontline being unkillable. It's just not going to be the same kind of game anymore. JDG, 3,000 gold in the advantage. That's kind of what it's bought them. Tones goes towards the Void Staff. Huge damage increase for the Kai'Sa. It is actually better than Deathcap, by the way, 4th, 5th item. Because you have so much base magic damage. Your 40% pen. There's a lot of work from that. Of course, a lot of your magic damage also scales in AD, so you don't necessarily need all of the AP available for it. Last of the Baron buff, trying to push in towards the last inner turret. Hey, you've got to be careful there, buddy. Shouldn't. Taps him once, gives him a reality check.
With the burn on top as well, that'll be 20% of the HP bar of the Kindred, of the Kai'Sa gone. Off one auto. That Monkey will at least clear the tier 2 in the other side by a surprisingly good split push if she can get through some of her rotations.
Faust will tell you that one. And so you also get some camps down. Hang on a second, there's a teleport coming onto him now. Did he know about it? Well, we'll see. I'm normally very good at escaping this kind of play. Void Scuttle being greeted over right now. Ooh, that could be an issue. Arla choosing not to flash. That's okay. All right, Arla. Teleport down. Minute till dragon. Won't have that now without that global. WE, they've been pushed in away from the dragon for the last couple of minutes with that Baron buff. They don't have vision down. What that means is it's much harder to find those creative engages, which Monkey and Vampire will almost certainly need to do now onto the backline. And these are going against very late game double carry comps. 8 marks on Shun now as well. He is absolutely online.
This Kindred will hit like an absolute truck. An additional crit cloak in inventory as well to help empower that. Probably an Infinity Edge. Last item one has to suspect. Missing looking for a potential angle there. The one ward they've got in their own jungle is currently being turned off by that control wall by the Wolf Pit. So very, very dark for WE.
Shun is standing there saying, yep, I'm going to stand here and farm damage with my W. Does get hit back onto him by Kaiser, who's going to hit one of the pays. That's a problem. You can't be letting that poke hit, guys. You've got 10 seconds till dragon. Why aren't you standing behind your minions? Taeyun getting way more HP off of those carries than JDG have any right giving him.
Good accuracy with the Void Seekers. We'll need to have some more. Dragon back up, beginning to heal back up with that Wolf's Frenzy.
Another one. Dragon goes over, though.
Still look for the engage here. Cease and desist to the backside onto Shun, who can still look for land fight if required. That's going to be Monkey dangerously low on the other side. Won't quite fall down until just now. Pays up into this guy, but he's got burned nearly low. Taeyun can't get the kill. Flash into the Landers fight, buys the top, and then a Vampire finds the re-engage. Choose away, doesn't quite. As Shun melts them all with a dance of arrows. Karis looking to find some moments. Flash on forward, away from the command attack. Protect won't be enough as Taeyun at least gets one, but it's a triple to Shun.
Taeyun lives, though, and manages to kill the player, which goes over the wall. Some awful team fighting mechanics there from JDG as they get so much poke onto them. Scout trying to get the last kill, but can't quite manage it. So, dragon over to JDG, but realistically, that should have been a clean wipe of a fight. Pays somehow doesn't ult the shockwave coming through from Karis. Not sure if he was perma-CC'd. Managed to somehow get his way back into it. Another W lands onto it, and that's been a big problem. Taeyun going in with the ults.
But there's still people waiting. Scout was there. He still gets the kill. Can't quite get Shun as well, though.
Shun very, very close to going down. Taeyun gets one. That could have been the hero play. Taeyun was single-handedly carrying that last series of plays from WE. Hit about 5 Ws between Shun and Pays, who don't have lifesteal. I have no idea what was going through Shun and Pays' heads when they thought, yes, I'm going to try and just freely just step around these skill shots. It didn't work. Pays starts to fight a half HP. Ult goes in towards Shun as you know, the ultimate actually gets brought back from missing. Big mistake here from Pays. He gets hit by a Q3. Doesn't ult the shockwave. Nearly goddamn dies to the Storm Surge as well, and flashes into the ultimate. Pays, you have to do better than this. You are a late game full build. Xayah, you are meant to rule the disengage. You damn near threw this game.
He nearly does. Taeyun, though, just stands and delivers. Takes missing out from 80% HP. He is definitely trying on this Kaiser full build. And will lose the Baron all the same. JDG get that one. And, of course, Soul Point. They can look to try and break the base wide open this time. 40 minutes deep into this game 3.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Folks, if you hadn't realized this thing over here, 12 marks for Kindred. Gets one more, and he gets another range increase. He's already on his 3rd range increase. Has an Infinity Edge last. His attack speed when he presses Q goes up to about 1,000,000. The percent HP from the Q, also similar. And the E gets even more execute damage. Shun is Exodia at this point. You do not want to get tapped by that aspect of death. JDG pushing in with the Baron buff now, which they claim just coming out of the replay.
Reminder as well. Your E scales with crits. The more crits you get, the more you execute from.
Taeyun's very accurate with these Ws, but also JDG, come on. Just walk up with your minion waves. You don't have the lifesteal to be tanking these Ws. That's a big problem. Taeyun genuinely carrying these late game scenarios with skill shot accuracy. Vampire trying to play in the slim pocket of vision, which he has. Pace has no ult. No flash, rather. No ghost. Going towards the Conqueror, by the way, not lethal tempo. Still very good late game damage. That ultimate will have to suffice for now. The GA, of course, very important item built up as well.
Team Vampire just hanging around on that side on the blast cone to see whether Pays overstep was, I think, smart in positioning as far over as he did there towards the Raptor pit to stay close to his team and away from a potential Alistair engage. Cube doing his best to clear out this wave, and WE still threatening him. He lands another Void Seeker.
At least that one's onto the target with the magic shield. That's okay. He has magic. He's gone for the Abyssal Mask as well. Scouts charge up his passive. End of the Baron buff with the next minute in. Finally, base broken. Shun getting decent damage there onto Oh my Jesus
days.
Christ. That's more than good damage. Damage is almost a one-shot.
Yep. Turns out you do a lot of damn damage as a full build Kindred with all of those marks.
Walking in towards top lane, breaking into another inhibitor. WE, last chance saloon. You don't want to let all these go down. Minute until Dragon. Maybe you can make it about a soul fight. BF gonna have to do that from a losing map state with no vision. Where is your last hurrah?
Second inhibitor goes down, looking to break the Nexus turrets next. Tayu on the side, looking
Vampire.
to get some damage down. Vampire looking for an engage, still not entirely spotted. The wraparound is available. Has got Hex Flash in the Dream, missing, goes forwards. Doesn't quite find what he's looking for. Still looking for that potential engage. Vampire still off vision. Now he's in behind. Could look for the massive engage. Does sort of get it, but it's just not enough. Burns the ultimate as well. There's the turnaround. It's not fantastic from Scout either. Still, Nexus turret number 1 falls, and they can keep hunting. JDG looking to push further and end the game right here, right now.
Okay, so you got a couple of shields to work with. Going back, defender's advantage, but the turrets are falling. Here comes the Kindred, and the Equalizer is burning.
Tries to get some more value. Sees the assist onto Monkey, who's in danger. Does go down as Taya gets two. Tayu to the backside with the Lamb for a spite. Will buy the time they need. Q goes all out. But to what end? There's nothing left in the tank. It's an engine ticking over with no fuel. And JDG will win the series. But WE pushed them to the limit and beyond.
So it's not another win in a row.
With that Kai'Sa Globals, plus the Equalizer being a long range, Rakan, notoriously a great roamer, could get interesting for IG, who've not always had the best macro sense.
And now the Shy does go towards the Ambassador, so it's not the Jace, but I don't mind this. The Ambassador's okay into the Rumble, gets a lot better with that Galio. I mean, initial thought is I don't mind it. Then I look at the other side. It's the Shy who's taking an aggressive matchup. You need some backup. Yes, the Galio will come in. If the Galio flies onto the Ambassador's head, the Rise will be there, the Pantheon will be there, maybe the Kai'Sa as well. The Shy has not succeeded with this kind of play that much recently. However, TT, they've lost their mojo, they've lost their spark. They will need to show that even against a less informed Shy, they can punish this team because they have not looked good recently.
Xiao Huangran was on Thunder Talk for a long, long time in the academy system. There was a lot of hype for him a few years ago, and then he kind of just never made the transition up. And there were some questions about why do people like Nio and Milky Way and all these other, Monkey right now as well, of course, who made this jump up and did a great job of it. Why did Xiao Huangran never get that opportunity? What happened there? What was going on at the back end of things? Of course, Beichuang has ended up being pretty damn solid, but either way, it's TT with a new jungler out of nowhere. Xiao Huangran asked to come into a roster that is spiraling. For all they made a group ascension, it was not done cleanly, it was not done well. This is not the split one TT that we had high hopes of. We've seen moments from some of these players. 1xN's Ashe, the last game, was genuinely great. We've seen good 1v1s from Satab, good early laning plays from Feather, who is actually still finding good angles here and there, but the coordination, the team fighting, the consistency hasn't been. Invictus Gaming, for all of their flaws in a macro sense, for all of their inconsistencies, still absolutely lethal in terms of their overall mechanics.
Game 1 of our second series of the day, TT losing a jungler and maybe losing their spark, but IG, not happy days for them either. IG playing a draft in which the Shy will have some support. There's a lot of globals to come down on his head as well. It might be about that top line matchup, and oh boy, have IG fans rooted that before. Let's hear what the crowd has to say about our first drafts. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong. I think IG just interrupted TT's fan chance there. That is a little bit rude, folks. I heard TT, and then I heard IG before the third one came out. I think IG are playing... That's a little bit rude there. I think I'm going to assume that was mishearing things from the crowd. But you shouldn't do that. Let the team have their cheers. You can fire back just louder if you want to make a point.
The idea normally is that blue side go first, red side go second. You keep yourself in order. For all that IG are coming in with a heavier fan vote, understandably so. They are a very, very popular team with some of the most extraordinarily successful players in the region here. Everybody on that roster has a title of some sort, be that significant amounts of domestic ones, MSIs, worlds for a number of members. That whole top side are worlds winners on different rosters. Meko and JJ on that EDG roster that won as well. Gala, of course, was on that incredible RNG roster that did so much damage with Xiaohu and the like at MSI. In fact, Gala's the one member on that squad that's not a Worlds winner.
But he has, however, won 2 MSIs. Mako won one of them back in 2015, the first one ever. No one else has shared that success besides Gala. Still, international titles, one and all. On the other side, TT, none of them are even regional winners. I've never even got that far before. Bot lane, we did say, hey, Rakan, pretty good at that whole laning thing. Mako just headbutting away when he can, but Feather trades for the Q and he'll heal up more. Do have to, of course, address the the cow in the room, I suppose. There isn't an elephant champion. I rude that. I made a YouTube short about that recently. Why is there not an irrelevant the player in the LEC? But
Nearly
Mako,
the elephant packed the trunk and made away to the mid lane.
well, Mako's been at the circus a little bit recently because he had a 0-12 game on Blitzcrank last series out, I think it was. Or it might have been just the one before that. He's been struggling. Mako has had a couple of games this split where Mako has been the sole loss condition for his team. Now, IG already has enough of them in the Shy having a bad game as well, and sometimes other players dropping the ball a little bit. IG, on individual levels, we thought they would be okay, but then the team play would maybe fall apart. Actually, it's the individual level which is worrying me more than anything for IG right now.
If you want some context, guys, there were some very brutal fan calls after the last game we saw from IG, where it was a 0-12 Blitzcrank game. As Mako was leaving the stage, people were calling for Mako to retire and calling it a shameful display. It was very rough stuff.
By the way,
from the crowd.
that's us like saying it politely. There were some horrid words thrown towards him, and I will say as well, but this team has a lot of pressure, a lot of eyes on them. There are lots of different fan bases between different players here. JJ and Mako from EDG 2021. Mako, one of the oldest players within the LPL as well. Shine rookie from IG of years past, and Gala, of course, from the MSI RNG rosters as well. All of these players have large followings, and when one player starts doing poorly, the other fans start to think, well, I'll stand up for my player, without realizing it actually hurts everyone involved, really. So, not really what you want to see from the fans of this team, but shows you what dire straits IG are in.
And Kaza with the perhaps apt statement, that's the average vocabulary of a league player. It's true that we're known for maybe a few interesting all-chat messages, but welcome to online gaming. Certainly had its moments, and good to see you, Alid. We're doing pretty well here. Excited to see this series. On paper, it should be IG very happily coming on in. Draft-wise, I think we're both quite happy with what TT put together. It's just whether they can actually turn that into something successful. A setup doesn't take tower aggro. He's covering a minion. I got worried there for a second with the red line going through his head.
It's all good. Forcing down a lot of miss CS from the Galio early. Galio, first levels of the game, can really suck into mages. After that point, you get your first back, you're okay with it. Rookie's actually already teleported back, which is the problem for him, really, even with that magic resist built in. IG will want to get Rookie just kind of like clearing waves and not interacting like ASAP, basically. And then hopefully the Shy and JJ can get individual plays in which he can just drop on their heads and force TT to respect it.
One worry here is I'm looking at the lanes from TT and going, well, the Kai'Sa and Rakana actually one shove bot side, Ryze is shoving in mid, Rumble shoving in top, you've got this Pantheon, and you're saying actually TT arguably scale better when you've got this Ryze, Kai'Sa, Rumble's not a bad scaler, and IG, they want to hit mid game really hard, but losing the early game, losing late, that's not a great combo in terms of priority and scaling mix.
You do have to kind of baton pass at some point, right? Where you have like, if everyone's losing early, you don't reach late. And if you're winning early, you've got to close out, and sometimes that can be hard without someone to baton pass over to as well, especially if you make a mistake. It's one of the LS-isms, right? Where it's just like, why would you all in on early when actually you can, in some cases, pretty much have a guaranteed comp victory at some point. Especially with stuff like the Ivern, right? And other champions which are force multipliers.
Especially then if you get lane priority with a set of champions that scale better too. Like you're winning the best of both worlds. Like you're doing fine early and got better late. Like that's a better set of cards in your hand. IG though, with the level 5 from this, I have to call it a Kindred for some reason. This is what I get for having shouldn't play the Neferi and the Kindred last series. Throwing my brain for a loop, going to start up the early Dragon there, of course, with the fact that grubs spawn later. You can't immediately trade those out if you are a jungler who can take that early objective.
Very rarely see Dragon taken on spawn though still, because often at least bot lane's contest enough to get out of lane to fight. Even if you were pushed under turret, you'll clear the wave enough and you'll be able to go up and fight. Not the case here. JJ, quick early Dragon. Hex tech was nice for the extra attack speed and the cooldown reduction. Like 5 ability haste, especially early on.
It's nice.
Really important. Taking a single Dragon hasn't changed the game in a long time. There was a point where it did, where if you took an early Ocean Dragon at points, you would get mana sustain, which would completely break some champions like Ryze or Orianna in the early stages of the game. Because like, why aren't you What? Hang on a second, level 6 in bot lane.
Immediately hits, goes down bot. Gala will throw down that heal alongside Mako on top of it, and Gala tries to step forward to try and get something back, knowing there was no real way out, and dies basically immediately. Level 6 hit off the Raptors. presses are.
IG just not tracking jungle timings. This is the timing where that can happen. They clearly didn't have jungle vision. And that's going to be a wave, you know, a kill over towards the Kai'Sa, who already has a cull. Big mistake from IG and TT get an early kill to get their AD carry online. 1xN is the guy who can carry TT, really, realistically nowadays. If he gets ahead, that is not good for IG.
When times pass, when 1xN was on squads that have not been dominant, in fairness, I think that's true of Thundertalk, that's true of his time down in the LDL as well. When he would find success, it was often on these champions with a lot of individual agency to just mechanically outplay despite squads that are struggling. Kai'Sa is one of them. Aphelios is one of them for all the win rate. Sometimes looks a bit dodgy on that champion for him. The Jinx sometimes is one of them. He's here on a champion that can certainly do that in a comp where he can be an X factor here, especially if some of those shotgun defensive tools of the Alistar and the Galio are misused. You can play around with your supercharger, with your ult. You can become exceptionally threatening. An early death there. Has allowed for a reset, though. And TT want to try and take some of these grubs. We'll grab one, but JJ eviscerates over the wall and looks like they might want to contest this as the bot lane from IG. Roam up, look to play this one out as well.
So IG will get 2 out of the 3 grubs. TT take 1 to deny the Might Storm, which you do need all 3 for now. Feats of Strength, you go up to IG for that one little pip on the objectives, though. IG, at least getting that. Just looking down the gold leads and stuff. Of course, mid lane, we saw that matchup earlier. Be a little bit rough. Rookie starting to stabilize now. Top lane Rumble is Rumble. I'm quite worried for how IG are going to play out in the mid game. We're getting towards the point where the first ults of the game might start coming down on the heads of an Neferi or an Ambessa. This is kind of like the earliest point where that might happen, but, you know, the setup's not there for it just yet. But I'm worried that with Grand Starfall, with Realm Warp, with 1xN having that first kill as well, he'll be online earlier. The IG might try and pull the trigger on the Shy ulting, which, look, he's had a great Ambessa, but the tools to deny the Ambessa a clean engage and instead counterpunch him are really strong. I'm worried that IG won't respect them enough.
They've been known to be a little disrespectful as a group of players, it has to be said. They've often relied on mercurial outplay moments. JJ getting insane steals on Lee Sin, the Shy suddenly just finding an angle into the backline on Ambessa when things look lost, Rookie just popping off on Silas. You know, those kinds of moments to come back into games, because sometimes the coordination has been an issue. We've heard from interviews, from discussions from players and people online that actually the squad has really struggled to agree on how to play out mid-games in particular. They often need compositions that are very simple to execute, or at least very obvious in their game plans, because if it gets more complicated, they start pulling in different directions real fast.
Now, I think the other side of that coin is that if they have an obvious win condition, I trust them to mechanically play that. Look, JJ, I think, is God's gift to jungle on his form. Like, JJ's one of my... Hang on a second. This is the globals on his head. Can Rookie get here in time? Does have teleport. That's a very good evasion there from the Shy. That's very good. One of my worries was, hey, you're just going to dump globals into the Shy and it'll be a problem. Great. Cooldown blown, soaked, rather, by the Shy on the top side.
He's down a bit of CS here, but in some ways you're somewhat okay with that. Throughout the public execution, that's a flash away from Hoya. As JJ and Mako were around, if he'd landed that one, the combo after would have been pretty nasty.
Yeah, Hoya had to flash away. The Shy soaking that cooldown topside, getting a flash out of Hoya. And of course, now next time that's up, well, you'll have your ultimate back up, and he won't have that flash. Let's see if they can use that for something. Hoya, a player which when TT are losing, Hoya is... Hang on a second, does he get that taunt? Protecting those minions. Yay! Gets himself some extra CS in the matchup because he denies 2 with the taunt. Nice. But the Shy, or rather the Hoya on the other side, when Hoya falls behind, he is the guy which I often criticize the most from TT for them just straight up losing games. Hoya is a black hole of pressure when he falls behind the game. It's consistently been a problem for TT.
He's actually pretty good from ahead. He's quite a good playmaker, but the thing is, when he falls behind, watch his teleport usage and you will see him permanently try and force very aggressive teleport plays to try and get value, and just bleeds out more CS, more pressure. It can get pretty ugly indeed. It's happened now over a number of years on a number of squads. Always been easy. And then sometimes you just get those Camille games where he breaks Bin's ankles. Just, you know, 1 in every 10.
Yeah, every so often. I do think that Hoya is... look, he's stuck on this team for a very long time, and I can appreciate the loyalty for him. He's had... I thought last split we finally saw an evolutionist player. Not sure it's really that the case now. Rookie's actually going to get himself a plate on top side and even up the gold in the individual matchup, which will be more than happy with. Hoya looking to match him now. Rookie very happy into both of these solo laners, actually, so...
Gets the first item, Hollow Radiance. He's very pleased with
Yeah,
Galio.
yeah. not going towards the Rod of Ages. Was nerfed a bit on this patch, where the Catalyst gives you all the HP you'd get from Rod of Ages on completion anyway, so it just feels a bit meh to actually complete it. Sack Dragon is alive. Neferi's going to start it up. You do have Ambessa on the side. Remember, Hoya has no flash if he wants to join. Rookie walking down the river. Could potentially ult in. Not in ult range just yet, though. Mako makes a bit of damage. Xiaohuang with that empowered passive could go in.
Flash, headbutt, pulverized, but a flash away keeps at least one member alive. As it turns around, the Galio comes on in with the hero's entrance. Mako burning up and not quite down. There's the reset. Hound's Pursuit Part 2 claims another jungle support down. Now TT James, the public execution, is back off cooldown. And Hoya eats a guillotine as the Shy begins to Drake Hound step all over 1XN. X marks the death spot.
TT had no idea how to deal with that amount of damage. I think they just waltzed up to the dragon looking for a fight. And I think as soon as the Pantheon gets blasted, I think the fight is pretty unwinnable for TT. You need Pantheon to have a very good intro to the fight, otherwise IG will just keep stomping down with the extra ability to walk forward into the play with the Ambessa ult and everything else. And as we see right here, you know, initially the players go straight onto the Pantheon. He's the one person who's relatively tanky on one side. Uses the empowered E, not the empowered W. Goes forwards, gets hit by the Galio ultimate, and Mako gets there, ends up going towards the Honey Fruit. He gets the Honey Fruit to live as well. Mako, very important play for him there. And of course, you've already kind of moved forwards into the play to try and get your burst combo. You have nothing really to move back at that point. The Shy, great ultimate to clean up.
Gets 2 at the back end of it all, and suddenly what looked like rough early lanes and a question about the scaling. He said, look, we need this mid-game to work. You know, the mid-game, I think it's just worked, Al. 2 dragons, a load of kills. Life is good for Invictus Gaming right now.
This is meant to be the start of the mid-game. This is meant to be the start of it, when you finally get towards, you know, moving out of your lanes and rotating around the map a little bit. JJ has 2 kills and an assist. Xiaohuang, the player that's come in for the outgoing Beige one, you know, the Judas of the LPL, moved over to another team. Yankos would know.
Yeah.
JJ is so far ahead of them now, and I don't know whether I trust Xiaohuang to be put under this much pressure from the player I trust the most on IG to do something with an advantage.
Very scary indeed. And there's a Mountain Soul to work with when you've got what will likely at some point be an eclipse from JJ. It was actually gone towards the Shojin first, interestingly, on the Neferi.
Most Neferis are on this patch.
Yeah, it's interesting that change has come on 3. Of course, there has been some changes to some items and the way Neferi is working and all these things, so partly why.
Basically, people have realized that Eclipse is a vibes item, not an actual substance item. It's been nerfed so many times that Eclipse is not actually that good an item anymore. It is fine.
Really nice.
Sorry. Now, the thing with someone like Ambessa is that because she gets a lot of damage from Shield Bash, she still wants to go it because she gets it from the Repudiate and that makes a little bit more sense. But even though the item is like a little bit less worthwhile, the extra Shield Bash proc can be quite nice. We do have Herald spawning. IG already have the feats of strength. They don't need the objective for that, but they might just have a swing at it because there's a couple of flashes now missing on Xiaohuang and the rest of the top side of TT, and JJ might want a snack.
Ults up and available pretty much everywhere you look. Do TT want to summon the bat signal? Well, again, you've got Galio on the other side. He's got his own heroic entrance angle. The Shy looking for a public execution throw it. Does get it. That's the Galio signal as well. Batman is summoned. Fumbled. They will still lose 1 for 1 though. They get the Herald, but 1x gets the back all the while. Jin just gets to pop off, eviscerates and Hound's Pursuit. Hoya tries to put on the barbecue. Flash over the wall, a triple kill for that Neferi. Try to roll ball back to safety. TT gets Scarlet. At least to cleanse, that's it, but then the slows come on through. Xiaohuang will try to shield vault to a minion for an escape, throws up the Aegis Assault, but in comes Galio. The shield of Durand is there. Durand, we're always a great band, and Rookie's there to show exactly how wonderful that music can be.
An unofficial quadra kill to the Neferi. We were just saying before this, if there's a player you trust with a lead on IG, it's JJ, all things said and done. He very nearly got himself a potential pentakill at 15 minutes into the game. He is 6-0-1 on the Neferi, and TT do not have the tools to deal with this. No one is tanky enough to deal with this. You press W onto the Pantheon ultimate onto a Rakan combo, your engage is snuffed out, and sadly now for TT, I don't think they have a way to deal with this Neferi now they're this far ahead. Great ult coming in from the Shy. I think he has been a very good Ambessa actually. He's been one of our better ones in the LPL, and I was a little bit worried this game would be coming about, oh, it's Ambessa on a side lane, and he'll get ulted onto all the time. Just hasn't been the case. It's about those team fights instead. The game's become about this Neferi who just obliterates the enemy AD carry. Still had ult, still had flash. I don't think he would have cleanly gotten away from it anyway. JJ makes there no room for any doubt though, and Gala gets out with just blowing that cleanse, despite the fact that Sets up and Xiaohuang really gunned for him.
Trying to get Hoya involved as well, but TT not able to switch targets in time. Rookie gets the Justice Punch forward, gets an additional taunt, and that gives JJ all the license he needs to bring down that Pantheon too. And now,
oh my god, he's got a second item at 17 minutes, man. Before that even.
There's that Eclipse. The vibes feel real good right now.
I think if you're this far ahead, hell yeah, why not? I don't think there's enough tanks on the other team to say you have to go towards
the Cleaver right now.
The Cleaver right. I don't. In fact, I think what I would prefer to do is Eclipse into Serildus at this point. I think Serildus means you just instant one-shot the other side. You could even go for Serpent's Fang if you particularly feel about it. There's not really that tanky on the other side. Don't think you need that Black Cleaver particularly. Dragon's gonna get taken early soul point. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and only one team has an Neferi.
You've got a shotgun comp, and that means you'll get your resets. That means you get your shield on your second R. It means you get more shields off Eclipse. It means who the hell is killing this Neferi on a good timer? Soul point secured as well. You are in a very scary spot. These items are hitting great break points for Invictus Gaming. Reset coming on through, and that means this tower is going to fall as well. You have to imagine the setup sticks around.
I mean, okay. Rookie will just get out of here. It's a Pantheon ult down. He can channel his taunt for the extra damage resistance. Now you have no CC for JJ if he wants to fight. Okay, clean kill looks like.
Try to get that grand entrance, quick this combo. That means Rookie will die. Can't retreat far enough with enough members collapsing.
Was wondering actually whether JJ wanted to play something out there. It'll be a 2v1 up in this top side. Hoya will clear the wave, but that's all he can achieve there. At least there's a kill on the bot side onto Rookie. That is helpful. Still, need to be quite wary of taking plays like that because you're not killing the Neferi, and if they're around the corner, well, they might just be able to turn that damage back.
Part of the problem was, though, is Gala and Mako were still mid. They get that mid tier 1. You still managed to get the trade on the cross map with that play. Hoya does ult the wave, at least that's something. And Setup will be able to get a bounty off this tier 1 bot side, but it's always a little alarming.
2, 3... Oh, we're back into Rift. Anyway, we're back into the Rift. We can figure that out later, but thank you for joining us for our trivia. As we get back, as the pause has happened, we'll do this again sometime. Hope you enjoyed it.
I'd forgotten you existed as a player. I won't lie to you all. I might be able to get the others.
I didn't. He was in Worlds 2014. I remember him.
There we go.
I'm trying to remember if he was also in... I'm trying to remember if he was also on Starhorn World Club for a bit. No, he wasn't on... No, he wasn't on World Club in 2013.
That was cool, wasn't it? Still back then, yeah.
You want more trivia? I can give you another one. I just got to figure out another one.
Looks like in the picture-in-picture we saw there was a kill that went down onto Hoya. Nice pickup by the Shy and, I want to say, Rookie. Wasn't quite paying enough attention there. Still another kill comes on over. The double Shojin Eclipse combo now from the Ambassador and JJ means there is a lot of cooldown reduction, a lot of shields. The ultimate mid-game spike in many ways. Just shy of Black Cleaver at some point, which you imagine will be coming second, or third rather. I can't count apparently. Shows how well I would have done on that trivia.
I do have another question ready to go for our next pause though. Which I won't spoil now. I won't spoil, but there's one which I've got ready. It should be okay. The problem is, like, I can't think of all the stuff off the top of my head. I've got to work out the answer a little bit first. We get the Atacon started there.
Herald drop bot as well. TT coming on over, teleporting in. Here's a bit of trivia for you. What happens if IG get this Atacon for free? Are we going to find out? Jijit throws out some Dark and Daggers. Rookie now coming on down. Has the hero's entrance. Mako off on a flank angle. Back towards the Atacon they go. TT throw down the equalizer. Xiao Huangran eats a shielded Duran though. And once again, Duran comes flying on in as they find that Galio hero's entrance. Rookie, though, in a 1v3 will get burned down. And they lose at least one more here, potentially, as Mako will headbutt Setab into a wall. IG get the Atacon, but in a 1 or 4v5 and dangerous to shine. Flashing on in, and just murders two! Finds his angle, finds a third, can look for everyone! He's got the Quadra! And Meta can look for that glorious pentakill! The Shy is bold as fuck!
The Shy gets a Penta after all the criticism onto him. Someone phone up Cadril. I know he's not streaming. Your boy just cleaned up a whole team.
Flash, Drake, Hound, Stomp. He absolutely breaks the backline's ankle. Watch again. He picks his moment sublimely.
That is absolutely insane. He uses the Atacon kill damage now. Remember, when you kill the Atacon, you get that slow in the damage around them. He uses that in his damage calculation. Absolutely insane value from that coming through. There's an initial part in this where I thought that maybe he kind of messed up on the initial play. And you know what, folks? I think this is the Shy's first ever pentakill.
No way!
I think the Shy has never gotten a pentakill before.
Takes all the way to 2025. And he picks his moment in sublime fashion. He's on a 3rd HP. It doesn't matter.
He waits until his cooldowns come back up, and he uses the Atacon Spirit Purification to get the extra damage. Another one there. The slow lands onto Feather, and he gets an easy kill. He just keeps rolling through damage. Insane damage coming through from the Ambassador as the Shy. I believe this is his first ever career pentakill.
One of the greats, arguably the great in the top lane, finds 4.8k damage, the majority of it right at the end of it all. Exceptional stuff from him.
Normally, if you go onto a Leaguepedia page, you can find out where they got pentakills and when. And yeah, that is, ladies and gentlemen and everyone else, you have just witnessed the Shy's first ever pentakill. He's never had it before.
Took him long enough, eh? It's on the Ambassador, a chance that people were wondering whether some of our better top laners would be able to really pilot to perfection. All the nerfs, all the changes haven't stopped the Shy from being an absolute menace. 1xN eats the majority of his health bar. Public execution. In comes Galio. The entrance is heroic. They'll lose the Ambassador, but I think her job is done. Mako follows the headbutt, the pulverize, and Thunder Talk are grounded, courtesy of the rest of Invictus Gaming. Eviscerate forwards. 1xN dies, cannot stand his ground. The Acathian Rain is funneled into the gutter, and they find their way to another ace for Invictus Gaming. They lose the Shy, and he gladly trades his life to kick off another play.
IG have absolutely stomped down on the heads of TT. A pentakill for the Shy, not followed up with in this fight, but he's the only person who dies in this one. Again, doing his job, hitting the ultimate, delivering Rookie into the backline makes it so much easier. For so long, we thought, well, Ambassador, she'll have to be set up for. Look, if you're firing your ult into a clump, you need to deliver someone there. It's more than fine. This is what happens here. Hoya's a little too far up. 1xN is definitely too far up, and the Shy, you know, just goes for it to completely obliterate the Kaiser. That is no HP to fight with. After that point, the Shy tanks up most of the damage, even with the shield from his Chain Laced Crushers. Equalizer comes back to deny a little bit, but, you know, you get a reset on JDG. And just look at the combo from Mako. It's absurdly good.
Triple taunt, triple headbutt pole. And they all fall down. 1xN just gets caught on the very edge of the shield of Durand. Honestly, the visuals there look like he was out of it. The tip of his gun is in, and that's enough to get him caught up and going down. Might be 4-4 as the only member with a positive KDA right now on his squad, but it's still not enough. Setup, I take a lie, has also managed to hold on just about to a neutral one, but that's Soul for Invictus Gaming at 25 minutes. Everybody's a terror. Baron is spawned, and on spawn, Invictus Gaming start the big purple worm setup. Is caught up, tries to run warp out, flashes away, taunted. You're gonna stand and fight. An additional kill over to the Shy. 8-2 now on the War Mother.
Hey, we did say he's a hell of a good Ambassador player for our LPL players. I do think that this is maybe his best champion right now. I think his Ambassador has been game-changing for ever since the release. He's showing a lot of value onto it. I mean, TT, they've just been obliterated. First by the Shy, first by JJ, then by the Shy. This has not been a close game.
28 kills in 25 minutes in Invictus Gaming with the lion's share of them. They go in again. The Hound's pursuit, and Kaiser wishes she was back in the void. She's certainly going to be set there for at least another 40 seconds. And when Invictus Gaming roar, they roar loud. This game is over.
This game has been kind of done ever since the early kills went over, but IG decided to make a bit of a mockery of it. Teamfight after teamfight, delivery after delivery of Rookie into the backline, and IG have not looked back. Their top side has been absolutely destructive in TT. They've just not had the firepower to play back against them.
The only thing in contention anymore is who gets the damn MVP. Neferi and Ambessa break every ankle. Rookie with glorious taunts. And Invictus Gaming, we all know they can stomp hard. And today, they crushed the heads of Thunder Talk in casual, confident ease.
First game down. IG. Not great versus the Lilia, I'll say. It is locked in, and the Shy picks up Shen. Has he ever played this before? You know what? I'm actually not sure. Let's go back to the Shy. And let me go back to his statistics. And let me see if he's ever played Shen. I can't remember, you know. Okay, this is the Shy's second ever Shen game. He played it once in 2017 China Regional Finals. He won with it versus Team WE versus Jarvan Top. That has been it. It has been a while, folks. It has been a while. First game since 2017. His second game ever. Long time since he's played that. Let's see if we can get a pentakill on the Shen, huh? Alright. Cheers are out, watered down. See. If TT have any plans, this is not really a team with, well, I suppose you do have the Lilith for early invades if you want to go towards Raptors. IG protecting that, of course, putting down some defensive vision, clearing out one of the wards of their own. Crowd is not in sync at all, was it? But hey, whatever. Nice to hear them cheering. Who won the draft? I think that TT have a much better front line. But I do think that IG's carries are better. I think that Aurora has really struggled to get a lot of work done. Also worth noting that the Shy is the one global on the map now. I didn't see you already indicate a compliment. I will get to that in a second, Katari. Thank you for letting me know. I'll figure that out in a second. The only thing more enjoyable than seeing the Shy pentakill his first in his career is knowing that I have such wonderful chatters like Katari in chat, who does spend channel points to make me feel even better. Duanic Sen getting ignited, cleansed away from it. Doesn't take as much damage from that now. Mako gets an extra auto attack in. Sometimes you forget that supports can auto attack like Rel, but yeah, they hurt. They hurt a lot. Oh my god, Ghost gets this kill anyway. I look away from the screen thinking the train's over, and I am wrong. 1xn goes down for the first blood kill over to Mako, who maybe took some of the criticism to heart. Had a great game last time. Starts off with a 2v2 kill here against 1xn, who has been such a talisman for TT. Fallen on weaker form. TT fallen weaker form. If they lose this, they go up to 10 losses. 2-10 out of their 12 series. You play with a I think it's 8 teams in the top, is it? Something like that. You end up playing I think it's 18. How many teams is it? Actually, it's 10 up in the top. You end up playing, you know, 18 matches total. Going to 12 losses very much sees you into the bottom echelons. Shy, torn under top turret. Now the thing is, what Shen will end up doing is likely going towards a Heartsteel in this matchup, because Sion can never stop you stacking Heartsteel, which is really annoying. Going for the Grasp as well. Hoya will do the same, of course. Sion will still get wave push. You go towards the Titanic Hydra first, of course, to the Shen, because otherwise you have no wave clear, and you need wave clear, even as a tank. Which is why Shen has almost always been played when Tiamat is strong, when Titanic Hydra is strong. Gets another taunt there, doesn't get under the turret, which is where the danger zone really comes in. Gets that key barrier shield. Probably still trading well. Of course, the big thing about Sion is that you can still trade well into the Shen, even with the Spirit's Refuge dodge field is down, because your Q is pretty damn good. Trying to stop that Grasp coming through, but I sadly can't quite do so. Hoya kind of playing out the matchup as expected. I much prefer him on tanks and top lane than other things. So a much better draft for him, I think, personally. Well, hero is Sion. Sion is the top laner. You know what I can do? I can point to you. I can point to you. Someone is learning the game, of course, so always got a lot of time for you. Sion's this guy here. You look on the top left of your screen. They're the undead zombie in the top side. He's really, really tanky and hard to kill. The Shy looks rough on Shen. Look, Shen loses early against this kind of tank matchup. You do have some early damage, but Sion gets the early push in, has way better trading. The Shy really wants to get towards Titanic Hydra, go towards Heartsteel maybe afterwards. So Elsie does hit onto Mako. Feather, we'll see that slow there. Tanks up, gets the aftershock, will crash down. Ow, Skarner now coming through the wall. How much of a trade do you want to take, Hip? No, not that much. Doesn't get the drive-by. So both junglers just visiting bot lane, not really achieving that much. The Shy probably first time since 2017. I think it's been turning up a lot in terms of scrims. Flandre's been playing it for anyone's legend. Shen's been buffed about 5 times. He's very, very, very strong right now. in the show. You see, it's hard for the Shen to really do much against the Scion in terms of his Q charging up in the early stages of the game. Eventually you can, when you get a bit more cooldown reduction, when you get a bit more bulk to tank through one skill. Shen has actually better, longer trade damage than the Scion does in a lot of ways, especially once you get that Q pass through. The damage, the percent HP you get on the Q is really, really nasty, especially if you drag it through an enemy champion. That's one of the big things, by the way. Shen drops his sword. If he ends up dragging it through, he gets a slow and extra damage from it. It's really nasty. Xiao Huangren on the Lilia, of course, is an extra carry in this game, which the IG team don't necessarily have. I will say, in terms of overall damage output, I mean, Aurora, not always the best at dealing damage. Setab and a bunch of other players are very comfortable on the champion. I just don't see it happen as much nowadays. Decent laning phase, like you can see it doing good work here. A lot of the time, actually, Rookie missed the cannon. Whoopsies. Bit of help with the Swell Seat, getting some push out. Mecha roaming up through the river. Skarner back out on the map. Is he spawning on a ward there? I was wondering if there was a blue ward in the enemy jungle. No, it wasn't. I missaw. Bot Scuttle taken by JJ. And his power spike of HP. The fact that Skarner is all HP scaling is kind of terrifying. Oh, that's a problem. Does he get the star? Yes, he does, just about. Feather could have stolen it with a hook there. 11 HP. Just about gets away with it. Has the level 6 now, as the Xiao Huangren. JJ levels up his ultimate. Gala not a level 6, neither is 1xN. 80 carries, importantly not at that mark. The Xiao is an ex-Petsu enjoyer, is he? Shen's strengths are out macroing with double TB, absolutely. And in the past, it was Shen taking Ignite in top lane and just having a global in general. And when you look back to Season 2 and Season 3, that was back when every top laner would take Ignite and look for solo kills, snowball out of control. Players like Flame really popularized that style. And then it really was Samsung White and Samsung Blue that popularized having teleport top laners. Acorn and Looper on the Samsung organization in 2014. Which, of course, Rookie played against when he was on KT Arrows. In fact, he beat them to get his first ever regional title in 2014 summer. But they were the teams that popularized playing towards multiple globals. And then, of course, Season 5 and 6 rolled around, and then you'd have both solo laners taking teleport. Fnatic, very famous for Season 3, Season 4, taking double teleports as well. And quickly responding to plays. Then we had the era of Season 6, 7, 8... even Season 9, where everyone would teleport bot lane at 4 minutes. We'd have like 8-man fights in bot lane for reasons I don't quite understand. Everyone just like... It meant that you couldn't play stuff like Caitlyn anymore, because Caitlyn would push up, people would teleport behind her, and she's one of the worst champions in bot lane at dealing with that. Really changed the bot lane a lot, where you'd play more towards safer AD carries. I want someone to pick Vel'Koz in competitive. It's been a while since we saw that. Vel'Koz used to be the Azir answer. Jensen and Bjergsen used to play it into Azir back in Season 5 and 6 every so often. Grubs have now spawned TT, moving towards that. Okay. Going into the river. Level 7 for JJ. Pretty tanky. Here comes the sun. Goes onto Mako. And that's it. And the sleep only lands onto people who are already out of the fight. Mako is getting burned down, but has a crash down to escape a lot of that damage. This is a one-man bullet time. Not sure about that. Trading so much for a little bit of damage onto the Rel. Not sure that's worthwhile. A lot of cooldowns now used, but I suppose IG not in position to turn around any extra damage. Xiao Huangren escapes. Good flash forward. Coming out from Hoya. Gets a slow. Gets onto JJ, who won't be able to get out of the play. And IG... maybe losing a little bit too much. The Shy does get a kill back, though, and kills the jungler. So, it overall, with another kill going the side of TT, ends up being 3 for 1. IG get 2 grubs, but lose 2 kills in the trade. And TT, I think, walk away fairly happy with that one. 2 kills onto the Aurora, 4 stacks on the Darksteel. We said it's a bit an inconsistent damage dealer as the Aurora. Having a bit more gold and a bit more bang for their buck, or in this case, a bit more bang for their bunny. We'll feel fairly happy with that. Hook just about lands onto JJ, lollipops around. Not the most impactful ult though still. I think the biggest... where does this game actually change? This game changes because Hoya is so damaging onto that Sion at the start of that fight. Pretty much impossible to remove that Sion quickly. Rookie doesn't quite land on Xiao Huangren, who had the flash anyway. I think Rookie misuses his combo there. Has to flash out. He puts himself out of position looking towards Xiao Huangren. And while this is happening, look, I think Rookie gets out safely. That's fine. At least he gets out safely. The fact that JJ and Gala walk up trying to get, you know, trying to get something back, that's a problem, because the rest of the team is backing off by that point. So the Shy does get a kill. He does get the Tiamat and the Giant Spell off. That is going towards his Titanic Hydra. Bit of an early shoulder check, though, from TT. They get themselves 1,000 gold ahead. They have no damage to kill Sion. I mean, eventually they will. Eventually they will. Sion will. Flash in. The Shy gets the flash taunt. He's just taking a breather for a moment, and I didn't have time to do so. Satsab burns down. The Tremors killing him alongside the red buff. Satsab had 2 kills, loses his Dark Seal stacks. I rested my my voice while IG lead that bunny. I'll lay them to rest. Is the Malignance coming through from Satsab, so he'll be able to accelerate the game a little bit more. Rookie playing safely on the top side. Nautilus is coming up towards it. Rookie will need to clear... Hang on a second. You need to clear out this wave, Rookie. I think it's a bit of a mistake, actually, going towards it. Uses the ult there just to make sure that Xiao Huangren can't get cleanly through to that point. No flash and no ability to get past it. Rookie, I think you either have to clear out that wave or back out earlier. Does the halfway house. Teleport now comes in from the Shy to make sure that that can come through. The Shy didn't want to pull the ultimate there. Did have it available. Instead, Rookie dies, wanting to save that for a better power play. Kitty, thank you so much for the raid, by the way. Welcome in, everyone. It's just me. Sam's gone off to rest his own voice before his own series. Did you all catch that panic kill earlier? Hope you're enjoying yourselves. And thank you, Kitty. Big cast. TY Gala. No sleep-ons for him to do, give him even more bullets into his back. Of course, that is a combo which TT will want to play around later. Yeah, welcome in, everyone. Over onto Twitch. Hope you had a good stream. Stick around if you're enjoying LPL. Rookie, building up towards the Leandri's first item. I should draw on the map. Look how professional I am. I can draw on the screen. Whoo! Almost got a Leandri's. Titanic almost coming up from the Shy as well. That's where the matchup can turn around, because Shen's biggest weakness is not having convenient wave clear. Be really, really annoying. Have the Heartsteel coming in from JJ as well. Decent trade from Satab, I suppose, in terms of Electrocute coming through. Mako's behind him, though. And once again, Satab had 2 kills. Thought maybe he'd be the point of power for TT. Instead, he's been the one with the target on his back. And the bunny's put down like they've got Mixie. 2 deaths from 2 kills. No Dark Seal stacks anymore. Satab doesn't even bother using the ult there. I wasn't actually sure if it was off cooldown. If it was, I presumed he would have used it. The Shy has that Titanic now, and he can start wave clearing through. It was 1,000 godly for TT. Been chunked into a little bit now. Yeah, Sam's casting G2 Hell later, so tune in for that best of 5 later. I'm sure Sam will tweet it out on his socials. We haven't seen that first Shen ult in just yet. Actually quite interested to see how IG play around that. I guess you can do it on top of the Rel as they go in for an engage. How long does it take the Shen to channel through? Is it 2 seconds, 3, 2.5, 3? The Shy, you can still go Bruiser after go for that. Yes, you do go for the Bruiser. You go towards... wait, in what sense do you go Bruiser? I've typically seen... Titanic into Heartsteel if you're into a good matchup. You can sometimes see stuff like, well, it used to be supportish, right? We even saw some like support items. Shen with Locket, Redemption. In fact, a load of Shen players went on strike, as in like they stopped playing the game for a while because they didn't like building Locket Redemption on Shen because it felt like it was the only way to get good value out of that champ. Support Shen was really strong for a while, by the way. Is LEC today? No, LEC isn't today. Sam's casting G2 Hell, which is their women's roster. So I think they're actually fighting for promotion. And is it LVP Div 2? I think it is. I haven't followed completely the stakes of that. The Shy trading well against the Sion now. Again, really good percent HP damage coming through from Shen. If you do get the sword pass through a champion, increase the damage more. TT will win, they just need to play well. I feel like you can say that about a lot of teams, but sadly, it hasn't worked out for all of them. Not everyone can play well enough. Always forget about the curse of Rookie Azir. Second most played champ, 49.5% career win rate. Is it really that low? Damn. I mean, it was being played when he was, you know, he played a lot of that in, you know, Season 5, Season 6 before, you know, the glory days of Season 8 onwards, but I can't remember how many of those games are early on. Herald started up. Skarner can drive through the wall, means that the terrain disadvantage can become a little bit nullified. Taken down low. Looks like there's going to be no contest. The rookie just used his shuffle over the wall. Didn't manage to catch out Setup fully on the left-hand side of our screen. Sion will get that recall. Go into the on-spot side of the map. So why do you choose to let that Herald go? No feats of strength complaint used by anything yet. Hoya using his ult. Using his ult like a semi-global. By the way, in German he screams, Feiglinge! I learned that. Maybe I should learn German through League of Legends. Maybe that's the play. Someone should reach out to Tolkien. I should reach out to Tolkien. Not just someone, I should. Bloodthirster built up for MF. Can regen off the wave whenever she wants now at this point. Dragon in under a minute. IG would be angling for their second, TT for their first. Who do I favor at this point? Well, I mean, the Shy's getting his flashback, so we can go for the Taunt Flash. That's an important cooldown back. You have the Shen ult for the first fight of the game. He's yet to use that. Been very timid pulling that ultimate out. A little bit of gold behind Hoya, but Hoya had a much better first fight of the game than he did. Of course, has that early advantage through from the CS as well. So intends to win the early and then a little bit. WTF T-Shens. I know, right? I do miss the WTF T-Shens. I was actually, you know, funnily enough, I was talking to Janiro the other day, because we were both on LEC desk. And Ginny didn't know that Doa was a lead caster, because she only knew him from Siege, because that's where she came from, you know? She did a lot of Siege before. And I had a great time educating Ginny on WTF T-Shens, the Faker, what was that clip? Doa, one of my favorite casters of all time. Herald now sitting in mid lane, using as a counterweight, push in mid lane, brute forcing it so they get a better position on Dragon. Lily will start Dragon now. Maker loses the Celestial opposition. Half the HP down from this turret. And we might have ourselves our first big fight of the game. You know, the Shy has used the teleport to go towards topside. You don't have to go towards this fight. Feather in the front line. Dragon goes down. Hoya has ult. Mako, hang on a second. Flash away from the hook. Feather. Flash with Rookie. Root now. Now Feather's caught out a little bit, but luckily Hoya's there to peel. This won't kill, but it does a decent amount of damage. Half the HP down in Feather. The Shy taking the topside turret. Was behind in gold. Now gets ahead. Shen, of course, very, very buff coming onto this. Does solo cast with legendary? Absolutely. Though, didn't he have a 12-hour solo cast? Look, I've learned to appreciate solo cast a lot more. Of course, I'm co-solo casting right now. I've learned to appreciate it a lot more. But the fact that he could do that and be so personable, so easy to listen to, Doa is one of my absolute favorite casters of all time. It's still my favorite. Missing out on that cue. My favorite duo cast of all time is, of course, still Monty and Doa. I think they are absolute legends of the scene, even though they've not cast for many years now in League. We remember them fondly. Rookie farming up well. Hang on a second. Hoya has ult. If anyone else... Hang on a second. Rookie, buddy, you got to be careful here. I mean, they might have to pull the side... Where's the Shen ult? They might need to throw that defensively. Now, flashes for the body block. And the ult doesn't clear the wall. Rookie should have ulted that one a little bit differently. Is the Shen ult coming in? No, not worth it at this point. The trap laid a minute in advance. Works out, and TT claim a kill onto the Azir. Cookie moment? Jesus. Someone taught me to use Shen art on cooldown so people can't flame you for ulting you when they don't down. Damn, that's the way to do it. Mako ulted. Flashes out. Think he'll be safe here. There was a bullet time for 1xN, but he wasn't really in position to do so. 1xN, gotta say, his MF has never really inspired me that much. I always prefer his... I mean, his Avalos is his best champion, but that's out of meta right now. I think his hyper carries are typically his best ones. The Shine, another giant spell in inventory. Going towards what I would imagine is the Heartsteel, but it could be the Unending Despair. If you're gonna get that if you're gonna get the Heartsteel, you want it early, and you want to lane into the Scion for as much as possible. Gonna go back now. Let's see how much you can get from it. It's the Ashen Whatchamacallit one. Ashen Whatchamacallit. I can't remember what it is outside of that. Yeah, it looks like he's going towards the Heartsteel. I think it's out of that, right? Hang on a second. What was the laugh in the crowd from? Did I miss something? I think I missed something. I missed something. Tell me if I missed something. Rookie going towards the... he got the Haunting Guys early, but then he went towards the Nash's Tooth completion. Now going towards that after. Unless the Shy's going towards Warmogs. Is that a Warmogs thing? I'm so bad at tank itemization. That's one of my weakest parts of my game. Unending Despair coming in from Jidget. 2 items for the Skarner now. Very HP heavy frontline. This is not an easy comp for MF to get value against. Not going to say it's not an easy comp for Aurora to get value against either, actually. It's a lot of HP, which they're not great at going through. Titanic Hydra, very good wave clear at this point. Dodges out on a bit of the cooldowns, bit of damage there from setup. Atacon started up. Now, Rookie doesn't have teleport. We've seen a lot of teams give up Atacon. Not everyone fights for these nowadays. Feels a lot less strong than the GA into an objective or the huge Flower Grove and then the boosting up of 6 grubs from Ruinous. The Shy does see this going down. They are being shredded. Does the Shy want to go for a bit of an out there engage? Sets up half HP? No. Pushing in, well, they're not even pushing in bot lane. There's no tower to take there. Bit of an angle onto mid lane. Mako off vision. Hex flash over the wall. Do they have an inroad into mid lane? No. Okay, flash over. Double sleep coming through, however. So the Skarner goes over the wall. Mako does as well. That's not that valuable, Xiao Huangren. That might be better though. Impale goes over. Bullet time's a little better this time. Shy uses his first ult of the game. And god damn, that's a lot of damage from the Titanic. Fourth shot from Gala goes on to Feather. How many kills can the Shy get? Gets one on the backline, but the Jhin is down. The Shy now 1v2 in the bot side. Can he get it one last kill? Yes, he can. 2 for the Shy as he dives in. But what's the rest of the team doing? The Azir turret, not needed. I thought it was there. Hoya dies, and it ends up being a 3-4-2 question mark. No kills coming in from the Scion passive. They got bloody close as the Mako makes it out alive. The Shy gets a lot of gold from that fight and immediately funds himself a Heartsteel. Tower off the back of it. TT. Much better fight than I thought they would get off of that. Get the Atacon 2 and the mid lane outer turret, so a big win for them strategically. Warmogs and Heartsteel have the same build path. I thought it was just like the double, whatchamacallit, the double giant spell. I forget about the bracer in it. So Xiao Huangren, I didn't think this was valuable because I thought, look, you're ulting 2 tanks. Who cares? Bluntly. A lot of CC comes through. The hook lands. Shen comes in early, doesn't want to get denied from that. The Shy completely obliterates the Lilia. Setup ends up going back and getting the clean kill onto Gala. The Atacon, of course, gets some good value too. Rookie struggling to have a clean team fight this game. Hoya just dives into try and clean up a fight. Luckily, the Goon squad comes in to peel him off. And I mean Goon in terms of like the old Mafia ones. Don't you be thinking that way. Mine's in the gutter. Dragon now alive. Second Dragon for either team. Shy doesn't have ultimate worth noting. Does have second item, so is strong, but hasn't stacked up that Heartsteel just yet. Doesn't have flash for that either. Feel like with cooldown disparity, Gala not having summoners, 1xN having, that's a big problem. Mako gets that heart. Well, doesn't have the Aftershock, must have used it before. Ultimate coming up from Xiao Huangren in the next few seconds. Hoya tanking up a little bit of the ultimate. And the Swell Seed will go on the other side. Hang on. Yeah, there's no cleanse on Gala. Force him back. Is there any real follow-up, though? No, there isn't. JJ going over the wall. Does he have the Impale? Yes, he does. What can he use it on? Feather hooks him out of it. And maybe JJ has caught out a little bit more. Good CC into the bullet time. The Shy goes in. And it's not a bad talk, but there's no follow-up. Split, disparate from IG, TT. They're the ones getting the poke. They're the ones getting the kill combos. And a triple kill for 1xN. I take it back. I said it wasn't an inspiring MF before. This one feels a lot better. Nautilus over the wall. Doesn't find anyone else. Second Dragon for TT. And though IG had a very confident game one, it was not close really for any points. This one, IG find themselves behind. So I take it as one side by side. Sam just replied to one of the comments on the Reddit thread saying, damn, the Shy is so effing bald. But then the comments were like, he's bald? When did he lose all his hair? Shen on the bot side. Setup doesn't have ult, doesn't have flash. And that's a good side lane play. Gets to taunt him. Gets himself a Heartsteel stack as 2. Heartsteel stack for the Shy. Rookie gets himself a kill. Setup goes down and loses his Darksteel stacks again, by the way. And while all this is happening, there's not a particularly quick push on the other side of the map. The Shy can go up towards that top side turret now, I guess. I mean, Rookie could have teleported in. Might be a mistake if they lose that top lane turret. I didn't see how much damage they could do. Is there a... No, there's no demolish on Hoya. Still, I don't know if it's worth a kill for a tower. This will go down. Could have teleported up with Rookie, but I guess wanting to save that instead. The Shy will watch the tower fall down completely. There's a full level down on Hoya, by the way. Needs to keep an eye on that. Doesn't want to fall completely out of contention. Hoya's gone for Hollow Radiance into the Jack Show. Good mixed resists from that. Setup died 3 times on the same spot. Well, you got to make sure you make the same mistake, like, at least a few times to make sure it's really wrong, you know? Now, what happens if you, what happens if you make a mistake only once and you're not sure it's a mistake? Think of all the undiscovered possibilities. Gala, going towards the fire cannon build. Slows down his ability to kill the tanks. I don't know if I like that. Who's going to kill it? Well, I mean, Rookie's the one who's going to have to kill the Scion. But he's going to be hard focused on. TT need to find consistent ways to kill off, or at least stop Rookie from auto-attacking. And of course, Gala as well, but... Rookie getting towards the point where he can be a tank killer. Nash's, Leandri's going towards a Void Staff. Got to make the Tricast reality? Which one? Which Tricast? Flowers and the Hapgood Bros. Sam would have to flex into Colorcaster for that, but that'd be fun. I like Flowers a lot. I like him a lot. I wonder if I could confuse him with my Scorpion fun facts. Things you never knew about Skarnet. Scorpions are very interesting creatures. They're arachnids, much like spiders. Not the same, though. Rookie E'd while no ult was on him, so it got immediately cancelled. I mean, sometimes it's okay to do that because you... Depending on the timing. Sometimes you want the shield just to make sure you don't get one shot, but then, of course, you need to be able to reposition after that point, which can kind of suck. Because the rookie, you know, the Azir shield does give you the, well, he gives you that shield. Okay, so getting towards the point where he's very afraid of Baron starts. Shy Hongran just using that Q to speed up rather than actually do damage. Shy. Not laning against the Scion, so not actually getting that many good Heartsteel stacks. He should actually be able to beat out the Scion in a 1v1 now. I think that Hoya has been rotating away from the Shen, actually. He has his ult back up. Almost level 16, by the way. Level 16 Shen ult. Hell of a lot of shielding. You Flowers, Atlas, a world final, so 2 play-by-plays. 2 play-by-plays and a color. But hey, they're good blokes. Like them a lot. Ah, Swazi very nearly clearing that out. Doesn't quite. Don't think so, anyway. I think that was taken by IG. Oh, it was in the growth 5 stages ago. Right, sorry, I missed that comment at the time then. 1 minute till Dragon. Will be third for TT. IG would get their second. 2.5 items for Rookie. Will he be able to use them? Well, that's the question. 1xn, 2.5k ahead, by the way. 3 items as a full Lord Dominates regards. I mean, he's going to absolutely shred anyone who's caught in that bullet time. It's a little hard to kill the tanks for sure. You can definitely kill Rel, who's a little less tanky, being a support. And if Rookie steps up to try and get into auto range and the bullet time tags him, that's still going to be like a third of his HP gone very, very quickly. Rookie needs to be playing really on point, and, you know, it's not necessarily the champion he's done the most work with over time in his career. You Dagda and Flyers? Yeah, hell yeah, I like... in fact, I think I have a cast with Dagda at some point. We've got to try cast at some point. We'll see. Okay, so... Baron started up now. Need to be careful with this. It does take a lot of damage from Lilia passive. And the Leandri's Hoya holding the gate down. JJ walking over. Hook misses. That's a bit of a problem. They peel off of it. Is there going to be impale? Ooh, that was close for Xiao Huangren. However, that's the sleep into the bullet time, and JJ gets shredded. De-shelled as the Azir goes down too. The Shy doesn't even get a chance to use his ultimate. IG, no damage left, no smite either. TT find themselves to fight. The bullet time shreds down the Scorpion. That should be a free Baron for them. Baron will be taken. See what happens with, I guess, Dragon on the other side, but just Gala, who's so far behind the MF on the other side. TT storm into the lead. Rapid fire cannon versus the Scion meat. Yep, that is a problem. There's a problem. At this point, Jhin is not carrying you. Jhin is not carrying you. The Shy, he's been trying to get some side lane advantage, but this game is about Rookie doing damage now, and he's not been able to. Rookie's Azir has not been his best champion over time. He's not had his best win rate. Like, it's been fine over his career, but it's not been something that he's been particularly successful on. Third items for Satab has got a fancy hat for Aurora. In fact, I'm pretty sure if Ornn upgrades Aurora's hat, it gets a special name, by the way. Special for Aurora. Ornn doesn't give special items anymore, which is a shame. Gives the upgraded ones, but doesn't give them the upgraded names. Dragon is taken. Third dragon for TT. Ocean Salt. That's kind of terrifying because the Scion is already unkillable. Then he becomes unkillable multiple times over. For multi-unkillability. Third Item for Gala, who does have Infinity Edge, but it's also not in Lord Dominic's regards for any armor that Hoya may build. Doesn't have that much, but the Jack Show is enough. Bit of damage onto the Nautilus, but not that much again. 7,000 gold behind now with IG. TT 7,000 gold ahead. The Lily has been powerful. 1xN. Probably the main threat to IG. The sleeps going through into the bullet times have been nasty as hell. Not been great at cancelling the ult of IG. I thought that maybe the Shy be able to win harder through side lanes, so that, you know, be able to make some side lane plays with the ultimate as well. But we did say, hey, Sion, better typical frontliner than the actual Shen. Shen has some more X factor for sure, but no, Sion is, if he stands in front of you, Sion's more threatening than a Shen. It's harder to kill than a Shen. 1xN had some really good ults. For sure he did, yeah. Last playoffs, 1xN entered a bit on the MF. His MF was not great. And one of the reasons why TT ended up bombing out in the way they did from players. Still a record high for the organization, finishing 6th, I think it was. But still. 1xN, walking up now. One Swirl Seed could be pretty much end of the game. There's no McHale's or anything like that on IG. Making going towards the Locket instead. Wave clearing as best they can. Sion pushing in mid lane. Can respond very quickly with his ultimate. Try to clear out some vision. Goldly goes up towards 8,000 now, actually. Tidy nest egg built up for TT. Nest egg's the word, right? Can you build up like some savings? I think it is. Three items for both our tank top laners. JJ very far behind on the Skarner. You kind of expect it at some point, but we did have some worries, right? Saying, okay, well, why the Skarner without the Rumble? Wouldn't you rather have the Sejuani as a tank engaged champion? I feel like that might have been a mistake now at this point, looking at it. Skarner's just been isolated in the front line. There's been very little follow-up. The Shy's not going to be able to carry these fights as the Shen. You killed one person. You have enough damage to kill one person as a Shen. Nothing more than that. Aurora's a Rabadon's death cap will turn into a witch's hat if one upgrades it. That's cute. That's cute. Aw, nice little Easter egg. That reads friend. Yes, it is a funny word. Perhaps I understand its purpose. That's cute. Aw. They had a very fun minigame as well, actually, Aurora and all. That little, like, thing in client. JJ's Sejuani is not working? I think JJ's Sejuani is pretty damn good from what I've seen of it before. Some pushing out of side lanes. Baron Breath's worn off. Almost 4 items for Setab. Setab is going to completely nuke the backline. I just don't see how Rookie's ever going to be able to stand and fight. He needs to find some way to isolate a target in front of him, which hopefully is not going to one-shot him in return. He needs to be out of range of the bullet time. Dodging Swirl Seeds. JJ has to flash away from Feather. That's a problem. Oh, Swirl Seed hits onto Rookie. Midway through his slide and glide. And we're just saying the positioning from Rookie needs to be on point. Yeah, that's not it. Flash away from Rookie. That'll make his next team fights even harder. Setab, low cooldown with the level 16 Malignance ult. That'll be up in time for the next dragon, as will Xiao Huangran's level 3 ult as well, from hitting level 16. Rookie, big cooldown loss there. Didn't flash out of the Swirl Seed. Of course, you don't want to have to full blow your flash there. Sucks though for him. Wonder whether IG should have looked for a split map play. Just gotta wonder whether they should have cross-mapped instead. I think Rookie's Victor's good, but his Azir has not looked fantastic. But yeah, for sure, I prefer his Arya and his Silas. Teleport behind. Now they have the Azir turret. That helps. Remember, it applies Leandry's, by the way, the Azir turret. Gonna lose it immediately. That's a hook under the turret. Feather needs to be... Hang on, Feather, you gotta be a little bit careful there, but JJ just immediately explodes. Cheryl is forced out. Rookie has to slide backwards. How much damage can he do? A little bit. Half the HP from Hoya. Teleported in. Remember, you know, Sion's got really good regen. Can push down the mid lane if they want. Would be Ocean Soul for TT. JJ has very little HP. Has to recall himself. Does have Impale still. Can IG stall in time? Hoya can come back into the play. Hook lands onto Mako. Has teleport. 10 seconds back onto Lilia ultimate. Has come back up in time for that fight. Gala is just not strong. Gala is just not strong at all. He's doing nothing. Only damage on the board for IG is Rookie, and weirdly a little bit from the Shen. Oh, it's a double Spoil Seed. Splashes onto. That goes into the bullet time. Gala goes out. Does live a little bit longer. Satab kills him with the ultimate, though. And the body's got a gat. Guns down the serial killer. Yes, there's an Impale, but I don't think it's bringing that much home for IG to be proud about. 5 men alive. TT will march towards the Nexus and bring us to a game 3.
Blue team has scored an ace.
TT, clean fight. IG never got their Azir into a position to actually do damage. The sleeps were fantastic. The engages afterwards from Satab blew the heads off of Rookie and Gala in multiple fights. The tank top laner, Hoya, did his job. And the Shy on his first Shen game since 2017. Can't do that much to spare the blushes in this series. IG will be brought to a game 3. Or will be going to a fun. Okay. Whoa! We get a LeBlanc. This is the first time I've seen rework LeBlanc in Pro. I don't know if it's been played elsewhere, but Seta picking up the LeBlanc. Dangerous into the Poppy. Okay versus the Lucian Nami. I don't know about this LeBlanc pick. I would have preferred... I mean, I guess Akali is dangerous into the Poppy too, but... I'm not sure about this one, folks. I'm not sure about this. Yeah, so LeBlanc has been visually updated. LeBlanc has been visually updated. So she has a newer look, which is more towards the newer keeping of the arcane visuals from Noxus from that. I will say, I really hate her run cycle. Her walk cycle feels a little bit meh. Anyway, coach, a little fist bump. Head across the... Ooh, first blood already taken. Satab getting a kill onto the Talia. It's loading for those Gyos. Once again, I make the mistake of looking away from the screen for just a second. Mistake by me. Even bigger one by IG. No summoners used by them. Then again, none used by TT either. Just straight gold over towards Satab. Ah, Dark Seal. Built up already. Now, isn't that concerning? Feels like a little bit. Dark Seal, first back. Satab knowing that he wants to snowball. If the LeBlanc gets very fed, yeah, that's a problem. At that point, you jump into the Lucian Nami, and Lucian Nami has to go backwards instead of forwards. It's very dangerous as an AP assassin if you jump at someone and actually they jump back at you. It's one of the things I hate the most as an RE player. God, I'm not a big fan of LeBlanc's new animations. She just looks like she's creeping around like an old, like, detective movie villain. Like an old vaudevillain. Surprisingly, no Victor pick. Yeah, I would love the Victor. I think Victor would have been good here. Shy jumping forward to that E-start. First since rework in the big 5 regions, in the major regions. Good to know, since the visual rework. Haven't seen that much of this at all. Shy, hitting that level 2 a little bit earlier. Hoya jumping forwards, getting that attack speed from the hop. You get a lot of stats when you hop as the Gnar, by the way. Sets up. Missed that chain start, by the way. No damage coming through from that E from Rookie. Missed the back end of it, but Setup not trading that well. Now, LeBlanc and Slayer can be a little bit spooky. You often have to trade with chains, not the W, because you don't want to get stuck into the minefield. Hongren spotting out Jia. No red buff for the Poppy, which does suck a little bit. Oh, goes over towards Jia. Hongren getting nothing. Rookie has to flash away. Ah, that might still get him killed anyway. When's the last Q? Flash away would be safe. Jia traded heavily on by Hongren, who managed to get the full passive off. Had the red buff as well. Buckler gets some damage down. Hongren now going to start up that red buff, tanking a little bit. Teleport back in from Talia. You can't stick around for this. Has to head out. So a bit of harass, nothing else. Jia ahead on his clear now, worth noting. As Huangren walked over the river to interrupt. Didn't really get that much after. Oh, good route. Triple Q from Feather. All of those blooming burst pops hitting. Shy doing quite well on top side. Of course, just teleported in first. Toya needs to be careful there. Use that hop to get to safety. Might have had to flash. Gala on Mako. Pushed on the turret. That 3Q onto Mako. Definitely hurting. The Lucian Nami, I think, eventually deals with the Ezreal Nico quite well. I think once you hit that one item of the Imperial Mandate and the, well, whatever it is for Lucian. Sometimes the Essence Reaver. Sometimes, well, it was Collector for a little while, wasn't it? Setup jumping beyond the wave. This is exactly where LeBlanc wants the wave to be. Pops that Q. Damn! A lot of damage from Setup already, actually. This is the problem. When LeBlanc gets ahead in lane, her poke becomes assassination. That's a problem. Now, First Blood, really throwing things for a loop. That level 1, well scouted out by TT. Maybe Setup can carry this game. Maybe you can. It's in a good position to with the draft, I think. Well, Well, no, from this later years... Oh, what the hell? Setup, what was he just doing? Flashes forward. Doesn't get any damage down. Maybe spots Mako out there and chooses not to. A fat finger, perhaps. Setup throwing a bit of that lane lead away, losing that flash. So strange. JJ on top side. Mega Gnar coming, so no real threat here. The clone used by Setup to hold the wave, weirdly. Feather coming into mid lane. We can help clear this out. Dragon alive. Grubs in 3 minutes. Press F instead of R. Well, you couldn't have used R because Setup hasn't leveled up to level 6 just yet. Dragon taken by TT. Early pressure in bottom mid, very much securing that. Top lane going well for the Shy. I mean, Gwen can absolutely one-shot backliners in this draft. Sounds a little bit delayed. You know what I'm going to do, folks? Just real quick. You good time, by the way?
I am just about to go into games. What
was the door, by the way? What was the door?
Oh, it was someone dropping past off.
Okay, cool. That's fine then. No worries. Yeah, we have a LeBlanc who got a First Blood from a poorly decided level 1 from IG. Okay. I'm going to do that thing where I just quickly restart the media source so we get a refresh on the audio. Because delayed audio sucks. There we go. It's back again. Where's everyone? Hard trade from Setup onto Rookie. There we go. A little bit better that. Always a little bit annoying when the sound gets desynced. Poppy heading down towards bot side. Thanks to the follows, by the way. Oh, flashes traded. Mako helping get onto 1xN there. Gala flash down, 1xN, and Feather flash down in return. Setup. Oh, that's a problem. Level 6 there. Shove. Dodged away from. Rookie really trying to get the most out of this lane. Only 5 CS behind, it is worth noting. He's doing really well considering the early lead from Setup. LeBlanc is a lane bully. Rookie going up into river to get some honey fruit. Doesn't want to reset right now. Problem is, once he gets back into lane, Setup will have his full cooldowns back up again. I guess he's giving up a wave for a little bit more. Full wave click coming through from Setup. Rookie will stay for another wave, and he'll probably be able to go through another one too. Setup completely out of mana. Does have to recall. Rookie recalls now. Down a wave compared to where he was. But then again, look, this matchup can be so problematic when you get full behind. Most assassin-like champions do get like that. Someone like Zed, someone like LeBlanc, they get ahead, they land a couple of skill shots, and then, yep, you can't play the rest of the lane until you reset again. I think Rookie just W'd my grandfather? Damn. Like, no, my fridge started flying out of the kitchen. Rookie's W hit it. Okay, JJ. Here on Grub's spawn. LeBlanc going down towards bot side. Rookie has teleport. Setup doesn't quite yet. Oh, actually, Rookie's, again, like a second off, I think, or whatever. Fairly close to it. First one taken. Sejuani confronted through top side. Has 6. Poppy ult. Might need to be used here. Hang on a second. Mega Gnar's pretty high up here. Jetta gets the wall stun. Just a little bit of damage onto the Gwen. Flashes forward for the confirm of it. But that's a great Poppy ult away. Feather gets decent damage through, but the culling killing him. back. A lot of damage going through. Needlework. Feather has no flash. That's going to be a dead Poppy. Dead Nico, rather. And that's going to be 1xN forced into the wall. Gala, good damage on the Lucian right now. Xiaohuangren trying to get some damage back. So, Summoner's down. And TT lose all 3 grubs to IG and also a kill. Would have thought with the Meganar coming up from Hoya, Xiaohuangren in such a good position, they'd be able to capitalize on that fight. But no, IG fire back well. While all this is happening, both mid laners away from that play. Rookie and Setab both on bot side, not wanting to invest anything into that play, wanting to stay on bot side and keep themselves farmed up. Who got that kill? It was the Poppy. Really good wall stun by JJ. No idea how he hit that on that angle. Ult goes into mid lane. Gala doesn't have the flash, remember. Great Nami ultimate, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Even with the move speed, maybe I'm wrong. Does 1xN have himself one last skill shot? Does Feather? No, they don't. Moko, magnificent tidal wave to save Gala's life. Very good peel from Mako. Very good peel. Satap lands the chain. Yeah, chains are nasty, that. No flick back from Rookie. This is that one. Trying to keep distance away from the LeBlanc. Force them to jump the full distance. Satap trying to hop over the wave now. Rookie might have stayed a little bit too long. Good damage there. Where's the chain? It's landed. Does he have any more extra damage? No. Rookie, once again, traded hard onto but not dying. As does Mertrez. Definitely helps shrug off some of the damage. Satap, though, playing the matchup out well to get the chunks. It's not been able to materialize that into a huge lead just yet. And a Rookie picking up the farm even though he's losing the HP. Viper, Mako were the Lucian pioneers back in the day. The Lucian army pioneers. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's definitely worth calling out for sure. Mako, very good enchanter player from LPL history. Not every LPL player is good at enchanters. I think all of them are pretty good at Leona Nautilus. It's pretty much, you know, it's the bread and butter. But I do think that enchanter player is kind of, you know, I think Crisp was good at it. I think that, yeah, I think, hang on a second, Alter in the mid lane. Xiaohuangren, no ultimate, force the flash out of Mako. The mid lane push of War, very important. Full culling going to be channeled into Xiaohuangren pretty much. A couple of shots at the end go wide, but it's most of it, well, most of it hitting. 1xN, jump forwards again. Good W hit. Gala losing a bit of HP. Sheen from 1xN, force doing a lot of damage. Not really at the full power of Lucian army just yet. Need that Imperial Mandate and the Essence Reaver. Gala will be going towards ASAP. Dragon is alive. First one was taken by TT. Would be second for them. Rookie trying to get a blind shove. Not able to do so. Has that ultimate, of course, to wall off part of the play. Xiaohuangren lands the ultimate onto JJ. 3 hits afterwards. A little bit of damage. But that's what a cheap ultimate thrown in by the Sejuani. Not there anymore. Setab could hop over and do a little bit more damage. Where's he going? Oh, goes on to Mako. That's a lot of damage. But there's a sidle way back. Is that enough? I think that's a good trade. Now, ultimate coming through from Rookie. Change the fight again. Good damage onto Gala, though. 1xN wanting to turn the fate once again into the favor of TT. JJ could Hex Flash over the wall. Doesn't have his ultimate right now. Flick available. JJ goes over against the steal. Of course he does. Flick back onto 1xN. But it's the fingers of JJ that once again win out the objective fight. Needlework doing damage into Feather. Not sure they'll be able to follow up for the kill. And Feather will make it out alive. JJ, this guy just doesn't miss smites. JJ's just the Prince of Thieves. Of course he gets the steal. Of course he does. It's JJ. Grass Gwen getting, is it 2 plates out of mid lane? Yeah, it is, especially with the 3 grubs. The Shy getting 2 plates very quickly off there. 1,000 gold ahead and not. Xiaohuangren, you know, not able to fully combo up the first play he wanted to. Making not getting the slows on door here. He has no flash for now. He's trying to predict the hop. Great damage there from the Electrocute on the Lucian. Has the Essence Reaver first item now, so Power Spike. Rookie trying to maybe get a opportunistic flicker onto Setup around the corner. Not quite in range. Setup has 2 kills now, by the way. Has a full Ludens completed for the full burst build. The Gnar looks so homeless. Hey, he's just a little raggedy little guy, you know. What more can you ask about the poor dude? So we're going back into this play where Xiaohuangren, half HP, was taken low by the culling. Ults onto JJ. I just don't know if that's the play you want. You know, it's not onto the Lucian. It's not onto the Nami who can one-shot. Now, Setup hides off a vision at this point. Gets a W straight on top of Mako here. Gets the full damage through. But then Wall Stun doesn't react to it properly. I think you just take the good chunk. I don't think you need the full kill. Yeah, setup gets the kill, but it's not worth trading your life for it there. No, you're needed for the extra damage. You are the gold lead right now. I think that's a mistake by setup. And JJ has the Hex Flash. And JJ, Prince of Thieves, seals another objective. Because of course he does. Because of course he does. Just can't keep this guy away from them, can you? Back into live. Gold lead for IG. JJ, I think, been the star of the show so far. Great wall stun around the grubs. Great steal there on the bot side as well. Princess Thieves was LGD Pina. It was also Dandy as well for a while. It's kind of like an honorary title, right? It's got a common one. Hang on. That's a Mega Knight potentially in place here. The Shy ults it into the wall. Here comes Shy Hongred. Ults over it, but there's a W and Gwen is immune! Gwen is immune! The root misses too. Is there a needlework to try and clear through this wave? He'll probably die here. Teleport coming through. Double ultimates being thrown out. Tidal wave coming through. Flash from Hoya. Ult coming through just to make sure there's a little bit of extra being thrown in. Rookie picks up the kill onto the Gnar. The Shy bought some time. Will get himself a Rift Maker on this back. What's happening on the rest of the map? Well, no one's pushing in bot lane, so nothing really to cross-map against Rookie. Shahuangra is still on top side. Rookie will push out a wave. Back off. Shahuangra will get nothing for his... Oh, I say that. Maybe you will. Oh, Rookie flash forward. The passive confirmed in just one more auto. Flick back. Means that some of the damage is missed, but, well, you know, setup's that. Maybe a little bit more. Oh, we're teleporting in again. All right, okay. This is how we're playing this game. Woolston doesn't land onto setup. Ultimate comes through. The pop-up doesn't land onto him either. Where's the Herald been taken? Feels like, well, it's just spawned, rather. IG not able to get that clean kill. Setup does have teleport and come back into the play. Lost the flash there. Is this going to be first tower? 3 grubs from IG. Can kill that very, very quickly. Gala can reset a couple of times on his autos with his dashes around. Where's the first kill coming through? Where's the first tower? Goes top lane. Hoya on 1xn. Came through to mid lane. Hoya even teleported for that, but TT not able to get that last, that first turret, which means that feats of strength go over towards IG. They'll get themselves the upgraded boots. Herald now going up to IG as well. Gala's getting a lot of gold from this. I miss casting Munchables, by the way. I did chat to him a little while ago, recently. Talked about some stuff. He's yeah, moving into the next phase of his life, and I'm happy for him. But also sad that he's not lending his voice to wonderful League of Legends, because he's one of the best to do it. Shy, gonna push out mid lane. Gala here as well. Almost towards the second item. You have Imperial Mandate, and you have an almost 2-item Lucian. This is the peak of power of Lucian coming right up. Yeah, I miss Munchables a lot. I miss Lyric too. Lyric, you know, 2 items for Lucian, by the way. God damn, that's strong. But, you know, that whole team, you know, Mizal, I miss. I mean, obviously he's doing stuff with LPL in this right, but I'm not casting with him right now. Freaking helicopter, man. I miss all of the LPL team, and I'm sure there are names I'm missing out there, but I do miss them. I miss that we don't have that official broadcast, that we're not paid to cover this region, which deserves it. 10 seconds till Dragon. TT. Didn't manage to get that second one because JJ stole it away. First item built up for everyone in the game now, but 2 items for Lucian, that's insane, man. The second item for Lucian is so critical. Watch to see how much damage he does with that electrocute. Didn't do that much towards the Lucian. The Another actually. Seto jumps over the wall. Does get that chain. Does he need? There's no flash to force from Rookie. Flick to the side. Ezreal misses as well. Rookie, those Merc Treads getting big value and actually trades really well. That's technically like a 1 versus 2.5. Does a good job trading back. Hit the setup's HP bar. It doesn't have to teleport now. Damn, that's a lot of damage from the culling. But that chunks up a lot of that. Shahuangra going forwards. Hoya does have the teleport. The flash, rather. I mean, it's not the stun onto the Shy. He is, though, soloed out. Decent damage back, considering the situation he was in. There's a trade of jungler for top laner. You've got no smite now. Dragon's going to go over to IG, and IG will be happy with that, I suppose. Second Dragon on the table. TT, not able to get that much from it. Setup not really able to leverage his strength on the LeBlanc in the way that I'd like to see. Not really. Still has Seraph's shield? Yeah. Yeah, Rookie's Merc Treads and Seraphs make him very hard to take out cleanly now. See that even though Setup got the chain into the Sejuani ult, it's just not easy to completely zone him out. To zero him out, rather. Or he'll take the spot lane turret. Or we'll get a little bit further ahead in this matchup. Slightly ahead of the Shy right now. And we'll kill it with the Demolish. Right, need to see Lucian Nami do something now for IG. if they are to do something. Has your lot into mid lane, clearing out a bit of that wave. Gala has, you know, the 2-item spike, has the electrocute. If he taps someone, they are... I mean, 1xN and Feather particularly, if they get hit, they're going to take a lot of damage. This is the point in the game which you pick Lucian Nami for, really. So you get the, you know, you get the crit chance. You get the Imperial Mandate, giving you your passive as well. Rapid fire cannon damage on that first auto attack. The electrocute. It's a lot of damage flying through. Here's Lucian. Lucian's this guy. This guy. Right there. Very, very strong right now. Probably the strongest person on the map. Well, no, Satap's very strong too. Well, I don't know. Worth a talk. Worth the discussion. Hang on a second. Xiao Huangren on the top side. Ah, Gala! That's a problem! Passive goes into him. Cleanse comes through. Good damage back, though. And maybe Xiao Huangren's gone a bit far. Doesn't have the flash. The Xiao uses the W. And TT do end up winning out in terms of the summoners he used. They get both off of Gala. Xiao Huangren able to scoot into that brush and get both of them out. IG lacking in vision control, and they won't have those flashes now for Atakan spawn if TT want to force the fight there. Or of course Dragon as well won't have that flash, will have the cleanse 3 minutes away. Yeah, I'm surprised too that it wasn't an immediate follow-up from Feather. Maybe afraid of going into the tidal wave. Disengage very nasty from Nami tidal wave. Hoya, quite far up on the spot side, but does spot out Poppy on that ward. Staying far away from walls, you'll notice he's... No, instead of walking down this way, he walks up this way, just to make sure that there isn't a wall stun, like in this kind of direction. Would have been quite scary. LeBlanc out onto the map. Even in gold now. That's gonna start up. And again, no summoners on Gala. This is a big moment for TT. Try and use that point with Gala. Not able to get that much. Good flick back. Remember, he's getting shredded by the Atakans. Good damage. Feather has flash ult. Feather could be disgustingly powerful here. Herald summon, not in the best spot, actually. TT, maybe have leashed the Atakan now. Hoya, no flash. Does have that Mega Now timing down. There's a flash on Feather. The Shy has that W to use. Herald's coming up. Coming up, brother. The ult misses Xiao Huangren. Sato goes over the wall. Rookie uses his ultimate. It's not so much available. Come down to a smite fight. It'll be trusting in the hands of JDG. Of course, he gets it. Another secure for him. Hoya goes too deep. And the rest of the team didn't catch the memo. Setup jumps forwards, gets wall stunned. And that's a lot of damage onto it. Further goes forwards. 2-man ultimate. No summoners onto the Lucian. But he has a lot of items and he lives. Gala lives. The needlework goes across the team. TT lose 3. They lose the Atakan. They'll lose the bot lane turret. The game falls apart. How did that work out? The Herald weirdly used midway through that fight. Strange things. Strange things. I might have to go just quickly answer the door, by the way, folks. We'll see what happens in this next play. Setup. There's a lot of damage. Just teleport back into things. JJ has that W standing on top of his team. Jumps in place there. Immediately kills it. Poppy. Lot of damage there. Imperial Mandate helping that Setup gets 1. Is there anyone else coming out? Yeah, there is. Cherokee's here. Setup hops back and immediately dies, donating a kill over to the Lucian. Well, luckily it's just over a replay now. Sorry, I have to go answer the door because we answered a package for some neighbors. I've no idea how Gala lives there. No idea. Mako, very good peeling from him. He's had a good game on the Nami. 4-0-3 on the Lucian. 2k ahead. JJ gets caught up by a root. Dragon is alive, by the way. Rookie teleporting in. Gala using his electrocute on Hoya, interestingly. It's not the target I would have used it onto. Would have preferred to save the cooldown, actually. Use it on someone more important. It is lower cooldown now. Hoya has flash, has ult. Gala doesn't have his flash. The Shy jumps over the wall. Setup jumps onto the Shy. And this time it's not stolen by JJ. The spike comes through. Dragon goes down, as does Gwen. Not so good this time from IG. Mid lane turret will fall down. The Shy gets the second item. Not the best approach. They were a little slow on that. Poyad no longer has that Mega Knot. There's actually a window now where they can maybe fire back, but again, Lucian is so goddamn powerful. Great damage from Ezreal, though. Scary damage back, though. Tanks the tower shot, Gala under half HP, but again, just a bit of a reality check there. Almost an Infinity Edge is Gala, and at that point, yeah, good luck trying to shrug off that damage from the Lucian. Why is the Shy like that? That is the Shy. I think that, well, I mean, he was trying to get vision over the wall, create a second flank. I don't know whether he respected Setup's positioning. I think if Setup isn't immediately there, I actually think he's fine. I don't mind that, actually. Okay. Shy. Claiming that blue buff on top side. Not quite the team blue buff, by the way. You need to have that take it beyond the 25-minute mark once the Baron spawns. Just wanted to get it in a timely fashion. The Shy 2 items. Very frightening if you can actually get onto targets. He's been struggling to do that in a clean way. Infinity Edge for Lucian. Yeah, that's... This is a very, very scary core. Especially when you add that into the Imperial Mandate. Coming through from the Nami. That's terrifying as hell. Also, this is a lot of HP and a lot of shields to get through. Hard to kill through him. A little bit of magic resist coming through to stop the LeBlanc damage from onto JJ. So it feels like these items are not really carrying the game for TT right now. These ones might, maybe. For Ezreal, very powerful. And of course, one of the biggest ones in the game is, of course, the Protobelt onto the Nico. Protobelt can help you get that and land that ult on target. Yeah, I agree, Cuzzle. I think that the W placement from the Shy could have been better in that last fight too. W placement on Gwen, probably one of the most important skills which you'll see from that champion. Baron Vision being contested over now. Baron just spawning. Atkan was taken by IG. Yes, it was. Just trying to remember. Yes, it was. You can tell it's top of the screen, actually, weirdly. By the way, on the LPL graphics, you can tell who has Atkan by whoever has this icon. You can tell it's a little bit different to this one over there on the other side, which is still the Bloody Petals, the Noxian ones. And you have to get the Ionian ones when you kill the Atkan. I don't believe in a LeBlanc carry. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, me neither, actually. I don't either. I think that Mako is in a position where he can save the first person picks and likely turn around the damage onto LeBlanc. LeBlanc is pretty bad versus Lucian Nami. Because if LeBlanc jumps at you, you get like the Electrocute Burst Trade, and LeBlanc doesn't have the sustain. You have to have very clean combo, have to have good vision control. I think there's a good reason why we haven't seen LeBlanc in general. It feels like you don't get clean combos. You're very risky. You're not that long range. Your side laning's okay, but nothing special. You're not going to win through side lane push. You struggle to kill a lot of the tanks in the meta too, of course. Setup jumping forwards, has a sweeper, swats at Gala. Now that's a bit different. Chain misses. Heal was used. Immediate teleport in. Gala, my dude, you cannot be face checking like that. No, they just waltzed in there, and Gala, for the second time this game, very nearly eats it. The poor positioning. Another troll ward will get picked. Picked off. How many times did that brush? Second time this game. 2 times too many, honestly. LeBlanc with these items should just delete Lucian. Should do. Missed the chain there. has the ult to force him out of the pit. Ult goes through from Xiao Huangren. Doesn't get much value. Setup not alive. 4v5. Rookie can stop the hops into the pit. Xiao Huangren, does he go for a flash steal? Does he go for it against JDG? He goes in and he steals it against the Prince of Thieves. Xiao Huangren, savior of TT, steals the Baron. So often you trust in JDG's smite key. Not this time. Still an Infernal Soul to be taken. JDG has smite. So does Xiao Huangren. And we're now in a place where we're fighting for the dragon. Setup alive. Talia's wall used to delay. On half HP, Xiao Huangren, can you do it twice in a row? Can you do it twice in a row? No! Infernal Soul up to IG, and maybe that Baron Steal means nothing. Feather gets an ultimate onto the Shy, but a lot of damage has already happened. The Sejuani goes down, and the wall stun helps take down Hoya. Well, all this happens, 1xN, the biggest damage dealer, falls as well. Triple kill to Gala, and maybe we'll forget about that steal from Xiao Huangren. JJ, your reputation may just hold, because the more important fight came just after. Gala will march forwards. I mean, it is just setup. How much can you do at this point? JJ jumps forwards, has that W feather, gets wall stun, and that is a dead Nico. Camouflage into a coffin, why don't you? Xiao is going to fall. 3 grubs, 3 Infernal Dragons for the extra damage as well. And Hip will fall. It is just the third LeBlanc, and I do not think there's been enough on their plate to get quite so fed to lead a 1v4 against this. Jumps forward, gets some damage. Gala jumps back, though, and yeah. The LeBlanc dies. Smoke mirrors shattered into dust, and ult back to the Nexus, and IG will win the series 2-1. Questions about consistency remain about Invictus Gaming, but you can't contest the fact that they got some damn good individual players. The pentakill, the first in the Shy's career in Game 1. Game 2, yeah, not as great really, was it?